Presents live exclusive coverage of the Phase 150 Busch Grand National Race from Watkins, Glen International in upstate New York. Well, it's become a very nice day for racing here in the Finger Lakes region of New York. But hi, everybody. I'm Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet. I'm shaking my head because it's like Michigan last week all over again. 30 minutes before the telecast, it's pouring down rain, and now suddenly it's time to go racing, and we're ready to go racing. It's not raining, but the track's still a little bit damp. Nonetheless, 12 races into the Busch Series, and here they come, Neil, for their one chance a year to predominantly turn right instead of left.
Mike, they come here once a year, but this is the third trip here for these Busch cars. The drivers are getting a lot more accustomed to this racetrack. They're getting around it better. In turn, they're using their equipment a little bit more than they did in the past, and they're punishing these cars a lot. We've seen a lot of failures this week. Hopefully these guys got their cars worked out. They're going to be fast in this cool weather.
Well, the Busch drivers have been here twice before, but the Winston Cuppers have a bit more experience on this track, so it's no surprise who fills up the front row. Let's find out who. Here's Glen Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mike. We're at a road course, and surprise, surprise, Ernie Irvin's got the fastest car. Now, Ernie, I don't know what the deal is. When you grew up in California, you grew up a lot of crooked streets where you're running from the law. I mean, how do you run so fast these places?
I didn't run no moonshine, but, you know, just I really enjoy the road courses. I guess that's the biggest thing. If you enjoy racing on these type of courses, it's going to make you be a little better driver on them, and you just have a lot of fun.
Well, this particular road course has been awfully good to you. Of course, you won this race last year. You've had good success in Winston Cup here. You really like this place, don't you?
I do. You know, it's real close to Rochester, which is the home city for Kodak. And, you know, we got a new sponsor on the car up here, the Fun Saver cameras. And we're real excited. You know, it's a different deal, and we're really having a lot of fun.
One more quick question. A lot of good cars behind you. Who do you look to run second today?
Well, you know, there's probably, well, it might be me, but, you know, there's probably 10 cars that can run pretty competitive, and it's just going to be who doesn't tear their equipment up, which I have a bad habit about doing. So just if I can keep my Carl Wagner motor tuned up real good today, I think I'll be in good shape.
I think the rest of the field thinks he's going to be in good shape, too. Now let's go to Randy Pemberton, who's with one of the hot shoes in the Busch Grand National Series.
Well, Glen's just about got Ernie in victory lane here already. Now, you've run pretty well on the road course. As a matter of fact, you won your first road course, Joe Nemechek. It wasn't at the Busch Grand National Series, but you've also qualified very well here and finished here all in the top 5 in the first 2 years here. What about it here today, your 4th qualifying?
Well, I'm happy with 4th. I didn't go quite as fast as I thought I would have in qualifying. My 3rd lap was my quickest, and everybody else's 1st lap. So hopefully that's going to say something for our race car and the way we have it set up. If we can keep getting faster the longer we run, we're going to be better because everybody else is going to slow down. Ernie's tough today. Ernie and Bill are up in the front row. You can tell who has experience here on this racetrack, and that's what's it's showing up. And I'm just trying to get more seat time and follow these guys around a little bit. Maybe I can learn something. Maybe we can beat them at the end.
Where did you learn your road course experience before? Have you gone to school for road course racing?
No, I just learned it on my own. Just picked it up. I've always enjoyed road courses. I've been around road race cars quite a bit, you know, when I was growing up, and then I finally did one back in '88, and we won, and I've loved them ever since.
Okay, well, he's going to love it if he goes to victory lane here today because it'll be his first of the 1993 season. Glen Jarrett, who you got over there?
Well, as Joe said, Ernie and Bill are on the front row, that Bill being Bill Elliott. And, Bill, you don't run too awfully many Busch races, but you got a good car here this weekend.
It seems to be. You know, we ran well here a year ago. I mean, not as well as Ernie did, obviously, but we had a little bit of car problem, I guess, with about 4 or 5 laps to go and ended up, you know, with a non-finish. But, you know, I feel good about the car today, and I know Ernie's going to be one of the cars to outrun, and, you know, I'm sure so far is the strongest car out there, but, you know, we'll wait and see what happens.
Well, same question to you that we've asked the other guys. You guys really do well on road courses, and did you learn all this in the North Georgia mountain roads?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this is just like home.
All right, other than Ernie, there's a couple of good Busch guys out there that got some good cars. You still got some pretty good competition.
Really, we do. I mean, you know, these guys get better and better every year, and, you know, we don't like to try to go up here and take anything away from them. I think it really accents our program. And, you know, looking from the standpoint of where they come from a year ago to what they've run here, you know, they've come a long way, and they're doing awful well.
Well, thanks a lot, Bill. Keep your eye on that Budweiser Ford. He's awfully quick. Mike?
Thanks, Glenn. Joining us on our TNN telecast, fellow who's won here in Camel GT. He's been a Trans Am champion, and he's a Winston Cup road racing specialist, Dorsey Schrader. Are these fellows going to race each other, or are they more going to race the track today?
Mike, you know what? I think they're going to have to race the racetrack today with this rain and so forth. A lot of these guys in the past, you see them using more than their fair share of road, sometimes a curb, sometimes dropping a wheel in the dirt. There's no dirt today. It's going to be slippery.
And with this rain this morning, what's going to happen if you get off the pavement?
If you get off the pavement, you stay off the pavement.
Watkins Glen is an 11-turn road course. The Busch and Winston Cup cars use 7 of those 11 turns. Neil Bonnet shows us a lap around Watkins Glen.
Let's take a lap around this racetrack. You see the start-finish line here. Go down in turn 1. Kind of downhill run, a lot of banking. Up into the S's. Turn 2, 3, and 4. Here we enter turn 2. Right-hander going uphill now. Turn 3, back to the left. Fixing to go up here. Turn out turn 4. Watch him reach up. Right here as you exit turn 4, pull it in high gear. High-speed part of the track. Up this back straightaway. It's all uphill. Here's the inner loop. This section has been added to slow the speed down the back straightaway. Coming in the inner loop. Make a left back out, get back on the original part of the racetrack. Here's the big sweeper, turn 5. As you come out of turn 5, the boot is on the left. We don't run the boot in the Busch Grand National Series. You see us bypassing the loop, which puts you down in turn 10. Long straightaway. Here we're in turn 10, left-hander. No banking at all. A lot of cars slide out to the right here. Short straightaway. Coming up turn 11, real sharp right-hander. Watch the car run all the way out, up on the curbing just about every lap. There's the start-finish line. Long way around this racetrack, a lot of shifts.
Well, of all those turns, Dorsey, where is it most critical to get a good quick lap here or to stay out of trouble here?
Well, I think the most important corner, looking at this wet situation and so forth, is breaking from the highest speed in the straightaway into the inner loop. That inner loop, you can get about 4 cars try to get in there at one time, but only one can get through there at a time, so they got to work it out. And that usually is an area of pretty congested passing.
And you come out of that inner loop and go into turn number 5, and the cars are faster there than they were, Neil, when you ran here, but before they had that little chicane area.
Mike, what they're starting to do is they slow the car down for the inner loop, and then they grab another gear and actually get through that corner even quicker. They're accelerating through that corner where they used to break through there, so it's added a new dimension to the racetrack.
Track drying efforts continue here. Won't be long before we get a start to the Phase 150, so stay with us as we bring it to you live here on the Nashville Network.
Stand for the final lap. The reason is that Little Beach, Jeff Burton led the final lap. You will receive $500 from
Here's, okay. Hear me?
Yep.
You hear me?
Yeah, hi, Billy.
Hello.
TNN Motorsports exclusive coverage of the Phase 150 at Watkins Glen is brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light, and by BF Goodrich TA Tires, when you're ready to get serious.
Pretty clear skies you see there as we look at Seneca Lake, one of the 5 Finger Lakes. Here that Watkins Glen is kind of just off the shore of that lake. Let's catch you up on Busch Grand National Series action. Here's this week's Haviland Update. 2 weeks ago at Myrtle Beach, the 12th race of the Busch Series, the Carolina Pride Budweiser 250. Ward Burton won the pole on Hoosiers, but from the outside pole, Jack Sprague on Goodyear's took the early lead. Burton got his lead back on lap 6. Then at lap 27, Todd Bodine spun at turn 4 to bring out one of 9 caution flags. Jeff Burton started 6th and moved quickly through the field. On lap 51, he took the lead from his brother and would keep it for 48 laps. At lap 100, Robert Presley powers past for the lead. And then teams started pitting under the green. Busch Points leader David Green, Jeff Burton, and Ward Burton all took on 2 tires to make up lost ground. Presley would lead for 45 laps before he was forced to pit under green and take on tires. Moments later, Clay Brown would tangle with Chuck Bound and David Green on the backstretch, bringing out the caution. Before they got back to green, cars were 5 wide, causing NASCAR to keep out the yellow and hand down restart lineup instructions. Back under green, Tracy Leslie pits, leaving Jeff Burton the only car on the lead lap. Neither Presley nor Grissom could get their laps back from the leader. Ward Burton could and did, making up 2 laps. But on the final restart, Ward missed a gear and Jeff powered away to take the victory and $25,000. David Green leads the points over Steve Grissom, Robert Presley, Chuck Bound, and Jeff Burton. That brings us here to race 13 as we sit to the left of your screen. And that little cubby hole high atop the start-finish tower where the press are installed and the race officials just across from the start-finish line. And you see a variety of vehicles coming down the front straightaway, which does not drain. It's the one part of this racetrack that doesn't drain. It drains down that hill right across the apex in turn 1, which can get real exciting. That's probably the dampest area of the racetrack right now. The groove of the track has dried up pretty well. So we're not too far from a start. As you can see, they've rolled the cars out to the starting grid. And with that, Sears Die-Hard Battery, now with more power when you need it most, presents the starting grid for today's Phase 150. Defending race champion Ernie Irvan has his second Busch pole of 93, and Bill Elliott has his best ever Busch Series start. Second row, Ward Burton, 2-time winner in 93, and Joe Nemechek, who was 4th here last year. Row 3, Terry Labonte, 1991 winner here, and Mike McLaughlin, the 88 NASCAR Modified champion. In row 4, Phil Parsons, 5th in his last Busch race, that at Dover, and leading rookie Hermie Sadler. In row 5, Tracy Leslie, who got his first career pole back at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and Brett Bodine, running this race for the 2nd year in a row. Row 6, Ricky Craven, the Maine native, in the DuPont car, and Dave Rezendes, who had a strong 5th place finish here a year ago. Row 7, David Green, the point leader, finished 10th in his only previous start at Watkins Glen, and Jeff Burton, who won 2 weeks ago at Myrtle Beach. In row 8, Scott Lagasse, the talented road racer, makes his first Busch Series start. Curtis Markham, Virginian, 4th in Busch Grand National North points. Bobby Dodders in row number 9, the former ARCA driver from Illinois, and Todd Bodine, who finished 2nd to Ernie Irvan here last year. In row 10, Richard Lassiter, out of Arkansas, cracks the top 20, and Chuck Bound, the 1990 Busch champion. Robert Presley seeking a 3rd victory on 93, and Mike Wallace looking for his 2nd top 10 finish this year. Tom Peck, 10th in the point standings, and 2nd-generation driver David Donahue makes his 2nd Busch Series start this year. Car dealer Ed Ferree finished 10th here last year, and driving school instructor Rodney Combs share the 13th row. In row number 14, Steve Grissom is used to starting in the back and charging to the front alongside Joe Bessie, who is 2nd in rookie points. Ashton Lewis makes his Busch Series debut after crashing in qualifying. He was still 29th fastest. And the 89 and 91 NASCAR Modified champ Mike Stefanik, who had such a good run at Nazareth. Row number 16, Tim Fido, a rookie contender from Michigan, and Tommy Houston carries number 3 on his car today. Dick McKay from Kennebunkport, Maine, the 92 Busch North champ, and Jack Sprague, who picked up a 9th at Martinsville, his best this year. Kelly Moore, 6th in the Busch North points, and Roy Payne, the rookie contender, both had to use provisionals, as did Bobby Dragon. Won the Busch North race here last month. Today he's in on a provisional start, and so is Shauna Robinson, making her 12th Busch start of the year.
Let's go back down to trackside for an update. Here's Glen Jarrett.
Well, thanks, Mike. I'm flanked by two giants in Busch Grand National Racing here. I'm sorry. First of all, let's have our weekly words with Ward. Ward, you got an awfully fast car, but you had a little problem in qualifying yesterday.
Yeah, we had a little bit of an oil leak and didn't get but one lap, Glen, but my hardest crew's been working hard for me, and hopefully we can pull out a decent finish today for them.
Well, you've been pulling out a lot of decent finishes. You got to be pleased with the way things are going.
Man, I tell you, it's very, very exciting compared to how I struggled the 2 years prior a little bit. And, you know, we'd run good 1 week, then we might go 5 weeks without a good run. Now they're putting pretty good, consistent cars under me, and I owe it to a lot of people, and like Jay Chisholm Boots, Hardee's, Hoosier Tire, just got a lot of good support group behind me this year.
Who's the man to beat today?
I think definitely the Winston Cup guys have got an edge on us. We've kind of narrowed that edge down on the oval tracks, and you know, another year or two, never know what'll happen today, but another year or two, we'll get to narrow it down a little bit here too.
Okay, best of luck to you today. Let's talk a little bit with Todd Bodine. Todd, you've come home to run this race.
Yeah, I'm home. It's just like the last time I was here. Same deal with the Winston Cup race. Had to rain in the beginning, then we ran a few pace laps, and then got rained out a little bit more. But you know, we're excited today. We didn't qualify that well. Fiddle Faddle car just wouldn't go in practice and qualifying. I don't know what it was. We made some more changes this morning, went out in practice, and really ran well. So you know, maybe we can get up to the front today.
Well, in addition to being home, though, you like this racetrack. You also have done really well here.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's watching Jeff and Brett race road racing or what it is, but I've taken a real knack to this place. Finished 5th the first year and 2nd last year behind Ernie. You know, he's the guy to beat today, him and the other Winston Cuppers. You know, it's going to be a tough race. Got to stay on track, though, because if you get off this racetrack now, you're not going to get back on.
Every time you come up here, you're around home, the rumors start flying. Todd Bodine's going Winston Cup racing next year. Can you comment?
Well, in one capacity or another, I'll be there. I don't know if I'll be driving or working on them, but I want to go to Winston Cup next year. That's the goal. You know, I've had some good years here in Busch. I've learned an awful lot. It's good competitors. You know, I always said you're only as good as the competitors you race against. So we got a good bunch of racers here in Busch, and I think it's time to move up. You know, my experience level, I think, has gotten to the point where Winston Cup is going to be the next step. I can learn some more here, but the opportunity's right. I want to move up next year.
Well, and I have to agree with him. I think his experience level will take him there, and he'll do well with it. Best of luck to both of you guys today. Let's go with Randy now and check on the weather.
Well, rain clouds still abound mountains here in the Watkins Glen area, but as we see here on the weather screen in the Busch Grand National trailer, you can see that the clouds are definitely there, but the winds are moving about 15 miles an hour to the east. We're supposed to be clean and green here after this, so we should get some racing in here shortly, probably about 15 minutes. Of course, they're going to dry the track, which they're doing right now, and it shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to get it in. Mike Joyce?
And as we look off to the west, there are a good layer of blue sky underneath some overhanging clouds, and that's the direction the weather usually comes here from. As you look over the grandstand there, down toward the S, it's going to be a pretty good crowd here on hand. It's a double-header weekend here at Watkins. Well, actually, it's kind of a five-card weekend here. There are 4 divisions of IMSA here competing, along with the Busch Grand National Series. Live coverage continues after this.
Yep. Welcome back to the Phase 150 here at Watkins Glen International in upstate New York in the Finger Lakes region. And as you look at the racetrack, you see it's grayed up, the asphalt has, and is drying nicely. So we're not too far away from a start. It doesn't look like here. No more rain clouds in the immediate horizon. So we should be able to get this race started. Covers are coming off the cars, and the pits are being set up. As you look up from turn one, that shot up the front straightaway here. And it looks like they have pulled in the track drying vehicles off the speedway. So NASCAR and speedway officials pretty close here to letting us know how quickly we can expect a start for this race. Our two reporters, Randy Pembert and Glen Jarrett, down chasing some further stories. Let's go back to Glen.
Well, I'm surrounded by Bobby Labonte Racing right now. On your left here, this is my right, your left, this is David McGee, the new crew chief. Of course, Bobby Labonte owns the team. David Green driving the car now, leading the points. Bobby, come on in here, David. Bobby, you got to be pretty pleased with these guys so far this year.
Yeah, I really am. Both these Davids are doing an awful good job. You know, I just stand back and watch and get to come on a day like today and watch the race.
Well, it took a weekend off from Winston Cup activities. Came up here to kind of check on the driver. David, you've led the points pretty much most of the season now. You've been very, very consistent, but I know you want to get that first win.
Yeah, that's the next thing on our schedule, you know, but we still got to stay consistent and stay atop these point standings and be careful. But the team's there, you know, the car's running good every week, week in and week out. It's just kind of taking some time for me to get used to these tracks that I had a year off from. So with Bobby's help, he told me he wasn't going to fire me in the near future here, so we'll be okay.
Job security, there's nothing like it. You had a pretty good qualifying run here for a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of road race experience.
Oh, yeah, I was happy with that, and, you know, the car's getting better. Each lap this morning we ran awful good, so we're changing things constantly. So if I can just kind of stay out of trouble, and, of course, this damp weather is going to be a problem, but, you know, we're looking for a good run today.
Well, best of luck to you. Now, let's talk to the new crew chief here for a little bit. When Bobby left and went Winston Cup racing, his father Bob, who was his crew chief, went over to his brother Terry's Busch Grand National car. This is confusing to me too. David McGee then was named crew chief and done an awfully good job. You got to be pleased with things so far, David.
Well, I guess it's like most things. I mean, I've tried to keep the crew together, and we've got a good crew, and all I'm done is just kind of kept them going. I ain't done nothing really special. We had a good crew and just keep everything together and keep going. We've got a good driver. It's taking the place of Bobby, and we just kept on going, and we're just digging and doing the best we can.
Okay, well, best of luck to all you guys today. Glad to see you up here, Bobby. Best of luck to you at Daytona next week in the Winston Cup race. Now let's go to Randy. He's got the last two guys that we haven't talked to yet.
Talked to just about everybody, Glenn. I've got standing on my left 1990 Busch Grand National champion Chuck Bound, and so far the Rookie of the Year leader, Hermie Sadler. Hermie running up front. First of all, Chuck Bound, you didn't have such a good qualifying effort. Tell us, first of all, what happened during qualifying.
Well, we just had a little problem with a spark plug wire. When we come around to get the green, it had missed on the warm-up lap. So I came down pit road, and they tried to fix it, but they couldn't find it. It was hidden under a bunch of tape in the distributor cap, so we went back out and made a 5-cylinder qualifying run, so I'm happy to be 20th. I didn't think we'd make the field.
You always got to look at it optimistically. Last year you had a problem, but it was during the race.
Yeah, last year we lost the spark plug wire in about the 5th lap, had to pit under the green to fix it. Had to play catch-up all day from, you know, dead last, so heck, we're in the middle of the pack this time. We've got a few more laps to do it, too, so if that's weather will keep working with us, we'll be okay.
Yeah, I think the weather's going to be fine. Over here on my right, Hermie leading the Busch Grand National Rookie of the Year standings, and up there in the points as well. What about your success this year? Are you surprised about it?
Well, I'm surprised probably how quickly I've been able to adapt, but all the credit goes to the racing team. I say that all along, and people say, you know, you're modest, you know, but you give the credit where the credit's due. I got a super team and a super crew chief and Bobby King that really makes my job a little bit easier. So we've come to the road course here for the first time and got a good qualifying run in, and looking forward to getting a race under my belt.
I'd like to find out, what about your road racing experience? Have you had any?
This is it. I've never raced on a road course, so I got a lot to learn, obviously, but I think I've got a fast race car and one's capable of running towards the front, provided I stay smooth and stay out of trouble, so we'll see what happens.
He'll be running a little lighter race car this week, too. Show everybody your haircut, Hermie. He shaved it all off for everybody this week.
My crew chief, Bobby, told me I had to shape up, so I figured I'd start at the top.
Okay, Mike.
Thanks, Randy. We're going to check back down with Glen Jarrett here in a moment. A couple of banners, the umbrellas coming in and the banners going up. So we're not too far away from going racing here at Watkins Glen, New York. Here's Glen.
Well, this guy's certainly no stranger. Usually we talk to him in Victory Lane. Got a few people don't see us here, but that's okay. Robert Presley, road racing is not exactly your strong suit, but still it's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah. I'm having more fun up here this year than I've ever had, you know. Usually been trying to find out how to get back on the racetrack, but we hadn't fell off today, you know. This week, been trying to learn a little bit. You know, I got behind Elliott a couple times, running with him, and Ernie, I just can't keep him in sight long enough. But, you know, we're having a lot of fun here, and I think we're going to have a good race today.
Well, now, one thing that we talked about, particularly Dorsey Schrader's up in the booth, and he's got a lot of road racing experience, and he says, don't get off the racetrack today because the grass is wet and there's mud out there.
Yeah, if you're mad at anybody and you won't get them back, today's the day to get them. You know, just put them out in the grass there, and you can watch them every lap as you go by.
Well, the road racing that you've done, though, in the past has been around home, hasn't it?
Well, get up there on the old back roads of Bent Creek. You know, this place here is flat compared to where we race at.
Best of luck to you, Robert. Mike Joy?
Thank you, Glenn. I'm sure some of North Carolina's finest will have their ticket books at the ready when that team gets back to home. We're not too far from a start here at Watkins Glen. Tell you what, let's give you a break, and we'll check with NASCAR officials and get an update for you as soon as we come back. We're at Watkins Glen International live on TNN. Stay with us. I can't stand it. Okay. 15 minutes. Okay. I don't think I'd say that. Okay. All right, I'm not going to mention 15. Okay, how long do you want from here before we throw to that? Okay, how long do you want from us up here? Okay. We're back live at Watkins Glen, New York. Mike Joy with Neil Bonnet and Dorsey Schrader. Glen Jarrett and Randy Pemberton are on pit road today for TNN. NASCAR has just dispatched the pace car out around the racetrack to have a look at the circuit. There are some damp areas still, but only a little bit of standing water out around the course. So we're told we're not too far from a start here. We're going to take you to the world of speed and beauty, and if there's any change here at Watkins Glen, we'll be right back as soon as they fire engines. So stay with us here. Okay.
I'll go down and get on that here for a minute. No, would you like one over the edge?
Patty.
hard to believe they're not making any attempts to dry it.
I don't understand it. I think they're just letting an air dry. I think that's...
Camera was up there when I arrived.
They're not running.
Yeah, we're all. Okay. I got a couple things for Billy. Mr. McCoy, a couple of cars that I'd like to see on the pace lap because they have new paint schemes or because they're unfamiliar to our viewers. Number 4 is new paint. Number 51 in the third row is a new car. Number 26 in the fifth row is a new car. Yep. Number 79 in the sixth row is new paint. Number 5 in the umpteenth row is new paint. And number 6 is not Tommy Houston. So if we could see those guys on one of the pace laps, we can help kind of ID them for the folks at home. Thank you. Yeah, right.
Good point.
Yeah. Right.
What you doing in the 79 car? Maybe had flat on the right front. Just change some kind of deal on it.
More decals.
Took the wheel off.
Yeah. I don't see an official there, do you?
It's the best time to work on them, I guess.
Yeah.
They took the wheel spacer off.
Did they?
Yeah.
Huh.
That's on jacket. He's got a wheel spacer in his hand.
Yeah.
You sure it's not that shim? Sure it's not that shim?
Well, it's a big one. If it is, it's a big one. Oh, Lord. And hello, satellite fans. While we're thinking about it, before we start talking about it,
yeah.
Hello to all you satellite fans.
That board bird, no, I can't go. Yes, Mr. Jarrett. Car's running good. He don't get in a hurry, does he?
It's a good thing he drives faster than he talks. Yep. Robert Presley's so proud of himself he hasn't been off the asphalt this week. And he's still on his first transmission of the week.
Yeah, but did you hear him say that today's a good day to pay somebody back? If he bumps somebody in the grass, he'll never live it down.
Well,
no, you're right. Boy, that'd be a terrible.
Who was that he got into at Martinsville?
Ed Barrier.
If he gets into Ed and goes in the grass.
He's going to have to go a long way to hit
right.
Ed. Ed's back in High Point.
Safest place for him, Dave.
That's where
he's looking after him.
Mike, do you want something to drink?
Not now, thanks.
You got water, grapefruit juice, apple juice.
Okay.
Give me a grapefruit juice. Sounds good.
And I've also got Pepsi, Diet Pepsi, and Sprite.
No beer.
Sure is. That's. Is there anything else we can get from down there instead of us? Because we'll have lots to talk about during the pace laps.
Do you want to clean any of that off so you know what's there?
Well, no problem.
Who've we got a camera looking out the front of the track? You can see it good. Whose car's in camera?
Brett Bodine is in car.
I was going to say, it might be a good idea. The in-car shows good where it's wet and dry places anyway as they go around.
Rear under the spoiler, I see it. See the yellow car is Brett's car, Faye's drugstores?
Mm-hmm.
Just above drug.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I see you, Randy. Busch Series race. And we're not too far away from firing engines here. Let's go to Randy Pemberton with a man who's leading the Busch North Series points.
Well, he might be an unfamiliar name to the regular Busch Grand National fans, but Mike McLaughlin, you're sitting here in a pretty good spot. Fifth, you qualified. What about your qualifying effort and the race?
Well, we were happy with the qualifying. The car feels good, and we're just going to try and stay out of trouble with the conditions we have to deal with today and be there at the end.
You almost won here last month. I think you ended up finishing about 8th, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were leading the show with about 3 to go and a little bit of driver error, but we'll work on that and try and be there at the end of the race today.
What about your Busch Grand National career? Are you done with the modifieds? I know you're still running.
Well, the modifieds are a lot of fun, you know. I'm concentrating on the North Series. I'm here today as Wheels is a major sponsor, and normally Coors Extra Gold is behind our North effort with Wheels and Associates, so both of them have been a big part of my career. So,
good luck today, Mike. Glen Jarrett, who do you got?
Okay, standing by with another Winston Cup star who always does well on road courses, and that's Terry Labonte. Terry, what are you looking for today?
I don't know. I'll tell you, our MW Windows Chevy's running good. In practice, we didn't get to practice that much. I feel like if we can run all day, the car's going to run good.
Who's the man to beat?
Well, I think Ernie's running good. He's probably going to run strong, and you know, he'll run as hard as he can all day long. So I say he's the guy we got to beat.
Okay, I think that's pretty much the consensus on everybody here. Stay tuned. We'll be right back for today's running of the Phase 150. We're getting ready to go racing, folks. We'll be right back after this break.
Okay.
Everything like trying to get to the halfway park
Yeah,
quick.
Just think how much quicker halfway gets here.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
It's clear over there. Look at the green, blue sky over there.
Yeah, we're not going to get rained on again. I mean,
Had to raise the hood on Wald's car.
yeah.
Why did it have to rain when I was in
Might have
Davey
left-
Allison's car here is what made me...
Might have left a piece of chicken in under the hood. Yawn. Okay.
No, it's not thunder, it's motors running.
That sound you hear is not thunder. They have fired the engines here at Watkins Glen. Thanks for staying with us. As our live coverage continues of the Phase 150, they're going to give the cars 2 pace laps, and then we're told put them under a green-yellow condition for a couple of laps to make sure the track is fully dry. Now, for Neil Bonnet and Dorsey Schrader, a couple of drivers were asking, you know, with a green racetrack on an oval track, you'd know what to do. But with a green racetrack here for a road race circuit, how would you set your car up differently than if you were on an oval track and had rain the night before the race?
Well, the oval, usually they talk about the car getting tight when it rains, and it means it's going to push pretty much. Not necessarily slow on a road race course, because you might get on an off-camber turn, get on that throttle, and have a loose condition. So I don't know that right now I would do much to the car. If you could soften it from inside the car, you'd want to soften everything and make the car a little bit more compliant. But, of course, they can't do that, so I think these guys are stuck with the setup that they ran in the dry the other day with.
And, too, when they run a race on a short track, you run a 200, 250 lap race, that puts a lot of rubber down on a green racetrack. Here, the distance here is only 62 laps, so really the track probably wouldn't change that much over the course of this race from what it is right now.
Well, it shouldn't. You know, the real difference here, right before this start of this race, we had a practice session, and that scrubbed off all the rubber that was there. So it's a totally green racetrack going in. These guys are going to have to bide their time and just behave themselves for about the first quarter of this race, see what the racetrack's going to do. Maybe the car come to them.
Easy to say, but as we've seen in this series, tough to do.
I was going to say, you don't think they'll do that, do you?
No, I know they're not going to do it. That's what they should do, though.
We're going to be riding along with Brett Bodine, Richmond, New York native. Grew up and raced just a few miles from here at the Richmond Speedrow, operated by Dad and his uncle, Bay's Drug Stores. Sponsoring his car, we'll have a camera on the rear bumper of Brett's car. That's Ricky Craven, just back to the left, and Dave Resendiz on the right side of your screen. And it's that bright yellow car, number 26, familiar number for Brett Bodine. See a little bit of standing water there, not too much, just a bit there, that flat portion of the racetrack where the crossover road is. And then they peel off. And they'll give him one to go on the back straightaway here. That's the inner loop at the end of the back straightaway. A right, left, left, right transition, and then they come to turn number 5. There's the new look of Ernie Irvin's car. Kodak Fun Saver cameras gets a little added blue and white into that yellow paint job.
You notice Jeff Burton went straight across. I noticed one as they went through the inner loop back there, one of the cars went straight across. I don't know what that was about.
There was a penalty for doing that during the race condition. Out of turn 5. Now we're in that second back straightaway.
When it is wet there on the outside, you have to really watch that. It's always like that on the outside, that grass area there. You see the cars drop wheels there. You better not do that today.
And you saw that yellow number 51. That's Mike McLaughlin's ride. The Wheels Auto Parts car. Wheels a division of Phase, as is Paper Cutter. They all have cars involved in this race. This third row there on the outside in that bright yellow and blue. Number 51, McLaughlin, the Busch North points leader, who won last week at Stafford Springs, Connecticut. For Harry and Mike Gricci, that team based up in Granby, Connecticut.
I'll tell you, this is the best thing could happen. They've tried drying it with safety equipment, and you can do that for 3 hours. You stick this many race cars out there get the heat in these cars and on that racetrack, and it won't take just a few laps to get this track dried off.
That's Brett Bodines' car, the yellow number 26. And now they're being given a green-yellow condition. So the race has officially started. Laps are being counted. But they are behind the pace car, as they would be on a caution lap. They'll lined up double file in their original starting positions. They don't go to single file. And after a few laps of this, to make sure the track is fully dry, as you see they come down here into turn 1, and when they drop the green, that's an area you really want to be dry. Then we'll be ready to go green flag racing. So while we're under this green-yellow situation here at Watkins Glen, New York, they have started the Phase 150. We'll be right back. That's the most exciting racing you've never seen. Oh, really?
This place you were talking about, looks really about the worst place down there.
Going right before you go into the inner loop. It's real wet over there.
Yeah, there's real depression there. Nowhere for it to drain to.
And that's going to stay wet even when the rest of the track's dry. It's going to be wet over there for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know why that guy went straight across there.
Did you see him do that?
Yeah.
I don't know what the deal was.
Well, I tell you what, you don't want to get crossed up going up that turn 2, 3, 4 area in the wet.
I did that down at Daytona when I went down and ran a Camaro for Budweiser one time, and I missed that chicane on the back straightaway, and I had the fastest lap for a while.
Yeah.
I had it listed, for that fastest lap in that division, and I know this one it was. Yeah. It's okay to have to merge.
Yeah, that merge is bad.
Truck, could you check with somebody to see if we're supposed to be getting anything on the scoring monitor? Yesterday we were, and today.
Earlier on we were today.
Were we?
I was up here doing GTS qualifying.
I wonder if we only get it for IMSA.
I don't know. Wouldn't that be something?
Funny. Yes, I did. Thank you. Yeah. One thing we might do with that next time around is indicate start finish. TNN Motorsports exclusive coverage of the Phase 150 is brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. You're looking at turn 11 here at Watkins Glen International. Circuit formerly home of the United States Grand Prix, and for 10 years now, IMSA Camel GT, Camel Continental Racing. That's part of this big doubleheader weekend. And we're still under a green-yellow, or under a yellow condition right now. Make sure the track is fully dry. The pace car driver in communication with the tower so that when they roll off into turn number 1, and here they are coming out of 1 and downhill to turn number 2, that this track is dry enough to go racing. Ed Ferree is in the pits. Here's Randy.
Crew is thrashing on it right now. They're to the left side. The car came in a little bit smoking. Ed Ferree's moving the steering wheel back and forth. I'm not exactly sure. It was smoking when it came in. I'll try to get further word with the crew to decide exactly what it is. Just can't tell right from here right now.
Randy, if they're working that area and he's working the wheel, possibly could be the power steering. They've either overfilled or got a line loose. They're just checking it. Hopefully it's nothing bad wrong.
Well, he can go tail into the line, but of course will not lose a lap under this caution condition right now. If you joined us late, the start of this race has been delayed about 45 minutes due to a rain shower late this morning. And the track is almost in dry raceable condition right now. At the end of the back straightaway, the inner loop, as it's called, a right, left, left, right condition. And Dorsey, explain why in almost all the classes of racing now, the entry and the corner speed through turn 5, where the drivers are coming now, is faster than it was before they put in that chicane.
You know, it's a funny situation, Mike. What happened there before is you used to come onto the straightaway and run down in that corner. You were hard on the brakes. You'd have to be getting the car down from 180 miles an hour, 170 miles an hour, and get it slowed down. Now you have to slow up earlier. You go through that chicane, you're actually on the throttle, coming out of that inner loop. You're on the throttle and driving the car down the hill. It's got more grip when you're driving on the throttle than it does when you're on the brake.
They're out of that turn 5 now. You see there's a lot of elevation change here at Watkins Glen. Let's go to Glenn Jarrett in Tommy Houston's pit.
Well, Mike, a lot of confusion going on down here. Scott Houston, smoke coming from the car. What's wrong?
Well, he's got a problem with the left front brake. We're not sure what it is right now. He said there's a lot of smoke and the wheels jumping up and down like it's got a broke rotor or something. And we got another little problem back here in the pits with NASCAR. They came 5 minutes ago before the start of the race and told us we were in the wrong pit. But the numbers added up, but we didn't have no way of knowing we was in the wrong pits. They just informed us of it, you know. So we're getting it together, and we're going to take care of this brake deal first.
All right, the other problem they got is their tools are down there where NASCAR told them to move. Part of their stuff's here, part of it's down there. Bad situation for them.
Houston comes out of turn 11, Glenn, and he will head for pit road this time. See him disappearing just off to the left side of the screen. He usually runs number 6, but as at Nazareth, Mike Stefanik, who runs number 6 on the Busch North Circuit, qualified faster than Houston, so it's Tommy that has to change his number. Car rolls to a stop. Wheel doesn't lock up. And the crew will get to work with what tools they have at that vicinity. Let's go back to Glenn.
Steve Bird is down there with Scott Houston. You can see him. He's the guy in the black shirt. Look at the wrenches they've got. They're just having to use big adjustable wrenches because they don't have any tools here. This is one of the oddest situations I've ever seen. You can see a little smoke coming from it. There definitely is a brake rotor problem there. That's going to cost him a lot of time. They put some ice water on it, trying to cool things down, but they got a real problem there. We'll see how it's getting along and update it a little further, Mike.
Now that fellow in the black shirt, Steve Bird, is now known as Suitcase Steve. He's bought all of Jake Elder's luggage. He started the season with Roy Payne. He was with Kenny Wallace the year before, and now he's moved over to the Jack Sprague team, a native of Massachusetts and a very talented crew chief. He's with the Staff America team of Jack Sprague, and as in this sport, somebody needs a help, and you jump right in and you do it.
You know, they're looking back toward the transmission now. They're looking a little bit further than that left front wheel, back toward the transmission, and a lot of the guys run coolers on them here. They might have a problem in that area. Yeah, they're a little bit further back, Dorsey, than around that brake. Looks like they're doing the transmission area.
Yeah, and it's unusual to see a guy have trouble on the first or second lap of a race. This one actually behind the yellow the whole time. This is a fortunate situation. They might be able to fix this car and not go down a lap.
There you see the size of the brakes and the calipers that they run here and all the cooling ducts that they run here on the road course. Brakes here are as critical as they are at a place like, say, Martinsville or North Wilkesboro. You have longer straightaways, but you have more braking zones here per lap and per the distance than you would have almost anywhere else.
You know, as big as that brake looks, combined, you know, me speaking as a road racer, it ain't near big enough.
Not for the weight of these cars. Let's go back to Glenn.
Well, Mike, I had a chance to talk to Tommy Houston as he sat there in the car. They changed the transmission this morning to change the gear ratio. They've got a problem. Evidently, they have left something loose. They got a real bad transmission fluid leak. He has fired the car now, so I think they're going to get him down and away here very shortly.
He'll be able to stay on the lead lap if he can get away right now.
And that's a little bit different deal, too. You hear him say to change the gear ratio in a transmission. When they come to these road courses, they've got the Jericho transmission now. And you have the luxury of changing ratios in second, third, fourth gear. So they've got a lot to work with. Now, boy, the track's looking a lot better now, Dorsey, getting that thing dried up some.
Track's looking real good, but unfortunately, it looks like we're about to go a lap down, Tommy, as he just now has dropped a lap down. That's unfortunate.
So Houston gets a lap down without getting to run a lap of green, but they wanted to take the time and repair that completely. Let's check with Randy Pemberton.
Well, gentlemen, there's always a tire story in the Busch Grand National Division. Here it is today. 8 of the cars will start on Hoosier tires. The rest of the field will start on Goodyear's. Only 1 tire per position on the car is allowed to be changed during this race. Now, you often might wonder what kind of tires these guys run here for a road course. Well, the Hoosier company, the right side tires will be like a Myrtle Beach tire. The left side tires, they'll be more like a Martinsville tire. As far as Goodyear's, those are more like Winston Cup compound tires, and those tires are only run on the road course. So that's the tire story here today.
Thanks, Randy. Ed Perry makes another pit stop as Tommy Houston completes work on his car. He's gone away to rejoin the tail end of the field 1 lap back. We're running under caution here at Watkins Glen International, not too far from the drop of the green flag. We'll be right back. Man, it's more fun than Camel GT racing. Fun than the international sedans. It's like the Firehawk race I ran here last year. You ran the whole. I think I was only in the car for 20 green laps, and the rest of it was all caution.
I ran the 124-hour race here. It rained, hailed, Looked like it snowed. I don't think it did. Lightning and hit a corner worker out here on this corner back up here. It was terrible. Took about a week to get through that day.
Tell you what, how about if we're still yellow, has Michael got his Oldsmobile thing, and we can do the Oldsmobile deal. Okay, position 6 through 9 on that grid are all Oldsmobiles in our race. 51, 29, 25, 72 are all Busch Oldsmobiles. Okay.
One to go.
I know. Hold on, boys.
Get the cameras ready down in turn 1.
Yep.
And 2.
Just bring all the cameras down to turn 1.
It'll be hard for those guys if they go 2 by 2 down there.
It'd be real hard.
Yeah.
You know, the inside's wet.
Yeah.
The guy goes out and hits the outside.
We're back at Watkins Glen, New York. Tommy Houston is back in the pits. He's lost 1 lap, making what appears to be transmission repairs, and they are going to give the 1 to go signal. Now here at Watkins Glen, due to the length of the circuit, they don't give it at start-finish. They give it at a position on the back straightaway. So when they give that signal, the field will line up, pace car lights will go off, and we'll get set to go racing. Next time they come by the start-finish stripe, green flag should wave. Now we are counting laps here, even though we are under caution. 4 laps have been completed under this green-yellow start condition. And we'll get set to go racing this time by. First time up to that inner loop. Dorsey side by side. Can you get too wide into there with these big cars?
You can get too wide through that entrance, but you got to get it worked out to where the pace car is right now, because it's coming out of there. It just funnel-necks on down on you. And we saw a lot of wrecks there last year coming off of that corner and getting in that guardrail on the outside, so there's not as much room as it looks by the camera angle right there where you're at speed.
Okay, 1 to go sign being given.
They'll get that green around this corner when they get on the back straightaway. Cut off between where the boot is for the road race guys.
I think Dorsey hit on the key to this thing is we've seen these guys all week lay the wheels off a little bit. Just like off of this corner right here, you'll see them get the left side wheels off. Next corner, they'll get the right sides off. They get off today, they're going for a ride. I'm not sure they can all stay on that pavement all day long.
Well, you know, got to be smart just to ride in the middle right now for a little while, see what the thing's going to do. But you know what racers are like. It's not going to happen.
Right.
Never been accused of being real smart.
No, for sure.
Turn 10. At the end of this return straight, you're looking back from Brett Bodine's car at Dave Resendiz. New colors for Resendiz. Orange and white today. And that's Ricky Craven. Here they come toward turn 11. You see the ripple strip at the outside of that corner, the rumble strip. And alligator teeth.
And they rumble over there, too.
Yes.
Several of them have rumbled over in the last day or 2.
And here, turn 11, the final corner. And there's the rumble strip there. Now, they actually use that as a track-out point coming out of that corner from our speed shot, which I think its position could be in jeopardy today. Green flag. And the Phase 150 gets the green with 5 laps complete. Irvin down into turn number 1. Elliott right with him. As they jump on the brakes, going to be a little damp in that inside lane there. And it looks like everybody's going to squeeze on through there.
I'll tell you, I was really concerned because there's still a little bit of moisture, but they did a good job of getting them sorted out in 1.
Full acceleration up through the Essex.
They're going to come up into that brake zone headed for this inner loop, and that's where it's been the wettest, so we have to watch that as they come in here.
Irvin, Elliott, Nemechek, Burton, the front 4.
They're in high gear now, a little 6-cylinder, really working to climb this big hill. Here's the area Dorsey's talking about. See a little bit of water flies that came in there.
Yeah, and just like I talked about earlier, you saw Ernie using the curbing there. He got the car up on the curb. It's going to be awful slippery if you keep doing that.
Turn 5. Sweep a little bit downhill, accelerating all the way out of 5.
They gave it a little bit more room under that white line than they normally do.
Yeah.
Can't afford to flirt with that edge like they did before.
Now they skipped the booth, so it's turn 5, straight to turn 10.
Well, a lot of racing going on in the back. We've seen cars side by side back there, and that's, you don't know what this track's going to be like on your first lap, so that's a daring move right now.
For Richard Lassiter moving up a spot there on Bobby Dotter and Robert Presley. Turn 11. Dotter down to the inside. Presley going to come around the outside. Didn't know you could pass at turn 11. Nobody told Robert Presley that.
Now they're going to make it 3 wide.
Down to the inside, Todd Bodine and Chuck Bound. Bodine nips a spot from Dave Resendiz.
Get on the inside, you take that inside lane away. It makes a big difference going in that corner.
We're seeing orange car on the inside there. That's the best way to get up into this high-speed essence here. You got to get that sorted out before you get to about where they are right now. You see the orange. No, they haven't got it sorted out quite yet.
Yeah, it's Bobby Dotter and Steve Grissom battling. Front of the pack. Here's Irvin. Going to do a little curb jumping right there. He and Elliott. And Nemechek and Burton in fourth.
Boy, Ernie really works that car through there. I mean, he just gets it tippy-toeing through there. He's like that in the Winston couple of cars through there, too. I followed him there before.
He really hustles the car.
Yeah, like he said, he said that it ain't always pretty, but it's effective.
You know, that's, you know, when I first started road racing, everybody said, boy, you need to use finesse and really take your time. There's some guys that can do that. They go around and look like they never slip a wheel, and they go really, really fast. Then there's some guys that throw the car around and get the same job done.
And one of those is Terry Labonte in that number 14 car. Very, very smooth and consistent as a road racer, and so is Bill Elliott. You don't see them toss the car around too much. Irvin way down to the inside. Now that's a different line for turn 1.
Yeah, that was kind of a defensive line. I was surprised to see him pull over that far. I'm not so sure something's not wrong for him to pull over out of the lane. Yeah, there's several cars going by.
Elliott gets past.
He must have felt something in that car and wanted to see what's wrong, because he pulled over and gave them that line that they needed.
Yeah, they're all going around now. Ernie's having some kind of problem real early in this race.
Yeah, if you lose a cylinder on one of these, you're back to 5. It's not going to do a whole lot.
So Bill Elliott takes over the lead. 7 laps complete.
You know, I think we had probably potential of 6 or 7 winners if Ernie's car wasn't in there. I think everybody said he's really got him covered. 55 car having trouble coming through slow, but if Ernie falls out of this thing, he's going to put several cars with a real good chance to win the race.
That's Fidoa moving at reduced speed. Don't see any damage on the car as he comes up to the inner loop.
Oh, he's definitely limping along, though. He's half a lap back from where everybody else is right now already.
Here's Elliott. 11.
And Ernie did not come in the pits.
No, he's hanging on there at 5th spot.
It's hard to say what's wrong. He's staying, you know, he hadn't totally lost the leaders.
Back in 6th will be Mike McLaughlin. 7th, Phil Parsons. 8th, Tracy Leslie, and 9th is Brett Bodine. 8 laps complete here at Watkins Glen International. We are under green after a rain delay, and you ride with Brett Bodine. We'll be right back.
We're getting one of our guys going 4, I'm sure. We've got somebody going down the 4 pit for sure.
For the 4 pit? I hope so.
There was another enough. Boy, I hate to see him.
I bet he's jammed in 3rd gear.
I hate to see him do that, to get under without any kind. It was. He just pulled it up without a jack stand or anything.
Yeah, not supposed to.
Something kind of crazy about the 4 car. It didn't just roll over and die.
No.
No, he just dropped. He's still dropping, though.
Yeah, maybe he's down a cylinder. He was so fast he could probably run that good on 5 cylinders.
That's right.
That's pretty awesome. Bill Elliott leads here in the Phase 150. Joe Nemechek is 2nd, but boy, it's heating up right where Nemechek is. There's Terry Labonte, that white car down to the inside, tried to make a run at Ward Burton and saw nothing there as they got to the inner loop. Burton 3rd in the Hardee's Buick and Labonte 4th. Now Ernie Irvin is still holding on to 5th. Was on the pole, led this race, then dropped to the inside, but he's hanging on a 5th spot. There's his yellow car. Kodak machine. He's still got a good lead over 6th place, which is Mike McLaughlin. McLaughlin leads that next pack.
You know, it's hard to believe, but Ernie's car was so fast that he might have actually lost a cylinder and still be able to hang on to these guys. I'm not sure what the problem, but that thing of his has been flying all week.
What's the problem with it, Randy?
It's not a cylinder, guys. They're saying that he's having trouble with the transmission. It's sticking in between 3rd and 4th gear, so sometimes he can't get up out of the box to get it in 4th gear. So he's going to try to ride it out a little bit and try and get it in 4th gear when he can and try and fix it under caution.
Now there's Ernie Irvin, and quite a battle shaping up for 6th spot just behind him as he rolls on through turn number 2 and starts to climb the hill.
Yeah, that's where it should get in trouble. Yeah.
Mike McLaughlin and the rest of that pack of cars. Now this is 6th on back. It's McLaughlin. Phil Parsons is the white car, number 29, and then Brett Bodine has moved up to 8th in that 2nd yellow car. The Faze Drugs machine. Then Tracy Leslie is in the 9th spot, and Todd Bodine, who started 18th, has moved all the way up to 10th. Well, Brett tried the outside of Phil there, didn't get it. Mike Stefanik, 2-time national modified champ, comes on to pit road very early for this stop for the Don Ling crew, and they're having a look at the right rear on Stefanik's car. Back to the battle for 6th place. McLaughlin, who nearly won the race here, the Busch North race here a month ago, made a goof and got off the course with just 3 laps to go. Brett Bodine, Todd Bodine makes the pass. And Todd moves up past Tracy Leslie. He started 18th, and he told me they had such troubles with the car in practice and qualifying that this morning they put last year's setup back under it, and they're just hoping it works, and so far it has.
Phil Parsons trying it down the inside of McLaughlin.
Boy, he locked the tire up there, too. Locked the left front up in that water that we said was on the inside there, but he made it stick anyway. Got on by.
And it looks like Brett Bodine also having a look down low. Now you're riding with Brett Bodine as he climbs the hill coming up the S's.
You know what? That looks real easy from inside that car, but inside while you're driving that car, he's right on the edge there. That's wide open. If you get the car handled right, you run all the way up through there wide open.
Yeah, and that big blue ribbon of steel looks pretty tough sitting there on each side. Looks like you're going in a funnel and just down in a tunnel.
It's awful close, too. You don't have very far to go to get there.
3rd gear, 2nd. Parsons. And here, Brett Bodine, right behind him, Mike McLaughlin, and Todd jumps to the inside, makes a pass.
That was a really nice move. He set that pass up right in the middle of the inner loop there. It's a good place to set up. He just put his car inside the other, and there was no way to defend against it. He just drove right on by.
So the Bodine brothers now 7th and 8th. Trouble on Mike Stefanik is a broken rear axle shaft, the right rear of his Valvoline Auto Palace Pontiac.
And that's the wrong thing to have to live with on a road course, with one of those axles broken.
You know, that could be attributed also to this wet weather. You know, a guy spins up a wheel in the wet, and all of a sudden it gets some traction, and that snaps that axle right off.
Well, you see him use that strip out to the edge of turn 11. Robert Presley's been up and over that with the left side wheels. We saw one lap ago. And that's good asphalt out there. It's not a curb, and it's not a rumble strip. It's just kind of like the edge of the racetrack. It's got a little bank to it like a cushion. And the Busch drivers have found they can ride that to pretty good effect with the left side tires. A little bit of bonus pavement, would you call it?
I think they put it out there to keep you off of that wall, and everybody just tiptoes on out there and uses it. It was probably put for safety reason. Now they start racing on the thing.
Ooh, Ricky Craven. A lot of smoke. Presley goes by. And Dave Rezendes has cracked the wall, coming up toward the inner loop there.
Makes you wonder if there was oil from the other car we saw, or what got it started.
Well, you see how slippery that grass was. He hit that, and that thing spun around 3 whole times, just like it was a top.
Caution flag is out at lap 13 for Dave Rezendes. We'll be back to Watkins Glen International after this. Was that at the inner loop where he spun, or was it coming in or out of the...
Now, how could he come in that lap, the first lap?
Yeah.
Oh, here.
Were the pits open?
Wow. Yeah, it was coming up to the inner loop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thing just takes right off, doesn't it?
Let that thing go.
Didn't he blow down in the S's, though? Yes, that's where the accident is. Thank you, Billy. Okay.
Think that was from the oil?
No, because I thought he blew down in 2, didn't he?
Well, I was looking to see he's still driving the car. I'm looking to see if the right rear tire is gone. Unless he's just poking along.
Right.
Okay.
Exclusive coverage of the Phase 150 on the Nashville Network is brought to you by Splitfire, the patented performance spark plug. It'll only cost more till you use it.
We're under the second caution of the day. Dave Resendiz is the reason why. His car is parked there near the braking zone to the inner loop. Ricky Craven's car apparently has lost an engine and has come to rest. It will not make it all the way around. And he appears to be just over the tunnel for access to the infield. Now, on this 11-turn road race course, of which NASCAR uses 7, you see the inner loop area. Just before that, to the left of that, in the braking zone at the end of that straightaway, is where Resendiz got into trouble. There's Irvin exiting the inner loop, and there goes Resendiz.
And Dorsey, like you said, watch how many times this car turns around like it's sitting on ice, sitting in the same spot, round and round.
You know what? He got turned way back there. It's almost like I think he might have had contact from behind with another car, because he turned back on the outside of the track, on the right-hand side of the track, and come across and hit that guardrail. But I think that dent was there first.
If you look to the right, you'll see that big 5-0. That's a 500. You can't see the other 0. That's the 500-foot braking going into the inner loop. There's markers 500, 400, 300 going in. Stop 500 foot out.
Now, Dave climbed out of the car. He is okay. They're going to try to pull it back to the garage area. Ernie Irvin made a pit stop on the first lap of this caution period. Here's Randy.
Well, what they have, guys, is a broken bracket on the transmission. Danny Marshburn and Crucci and Jay Smith are going to go to work on it again under this caution. Ernie left the pits in second gear, so I'm not really sure what gear it's stuck in between, but they're going to bring it back in and go to work on it.
Sometimes you have the fastest car and tough break.
I tell you, a lot of people have been having trouble with the shifters here. I know Joe Nemechek, he's broken 3 of the rods going to the shifter. These guys really cramming these things in gear, and that goes along with learning how to run the road course, how to finesse that thing and not tear the shifter up, as well as the transmission. I'm somebody to be talking to you. As much as I snatched them around.
All right, Ricky Craven's looking for a push back to the garage. Let's go to his pit and Glen.
Well, Mike, I came down and checked with David Lovendahl, the crew chief for Ricky Craven, and he definitely did blow up. They said they were through for the day. They're loading things up, going to pack the truck and head out of here early today. Short afternoon for Ricky.
So Craven loses an engine. They're still working on the right rear of Mike Stefanik's car, and Tommy Houston is back in the pits. The car is up on jack stands on the right side this time. That's Houston's car to the right side of your screen, as his son Scott and the crew continue to work under it. So trouble befalling some of the front runners in the very early going here at the Phase 150. We have 14 laps complete. Bill Elliott is the race leader. Joe Nemechek is second. Ward Burton is third. Terry Labonte in fourth. And the Bodine brothers, the hometown favorites, continue to move up. They're fifth and sixth.
Something had to turn him around.
Yeah.
Hey, Patty, we didn't have any further back when he spun, did we? That's the only shot we have that. See if something got him started, which that's history now. But
I think the only camera that could see him was on early.
As much as he spun, you'd think somebody had front end damage.
Yeah, wouldn't you?
Of course, maybe not. You know, if it bumped him and put him in the outside grass on the left side, that would spin him across like that.
Oh, that's right.
Look at the front of these cars.
Huh?
Chuck Bounds got the right
I was going to say, yeah, right, the little dimple in the right front of Chuck Bounds' car. Pit guys, you might check in Chuck Bounds' pit, which is right next to our tower. See if maybe he and maybe if Chuck and Resendiz got together. If they did, you might you might give us something on it. If they didn't, don't bother. That's the only car we saw that had any crunching. Okay. I think they just gave one to go, did they? One to go. Okay.
Then we give one to go, and
I think they pull it in when they give it over there. I hope. They've given one to go, and we'll go back to green here. Bill Elliott leading Joe Nemechek, Ward Burton, Terry Labonte, and Brett Bodine are the top 5 at Watkins Glen. Phil Parsons, then Todd Bodine, Mike McLaughlin, Tracy Leslie, and Scott Lagasse. The road racer who's had in the Charlie Henderson car today. He's had an interesting career. Started out in the Spec Racers, Dorsey, where you got your start and first run to pro prominence.
I raced Scott actually quite a lot. When I won the pro championship in '85, he was the amateur champion on the very next day, and of course our careers went kind of parallel for a couple of years. He's trying very hard to make the transition from road racer now into either Winston Cup or the Busch Series.
Picked up a deal from Mark III Vans to run this race here today in the 75 car. Getting set for the restart, which they will take in that second back straightaway without Ernie Irvan, who will likely go a lap down as they try to give him a transmission he can work with.
Yeah, they're about probably 8 or 10 seconds away from coming around this part of the track he's on. They're going to have to do something in a hurry.
We've seen him come from behind from the last on-road race course at Sears Point. He come all the way through the field and win, but a lap down, that's a whole different thing.
Now let's update this. They give them the one to go sign as they get up to the inner loop on the back straightaway, but they give them the green when they come back to start finish. So the pace car will now drop in here at turn 11. Bill Elliott will lead them around looking for green. Green is back out as they complete 16 laps. Elliott, Nemechek, Ward Burton, and Brett Bodine, the yellow car to the inside, headhunting Labonte. And nothing quite there.
They took a look, but I mean, when you move offline, they're out there in the wet, and you can't brake as efficiently as the other guys, so no pass made. Just a quick look.
That was Ward Burton off on the left side of the track there in turn 1 with 2 wheels, but managed to hold his spot. Nemechek in second, Burton in third, Labonte in fourth.
There's Bodine. We see him die. He keeps trying the inside. That yellow car, and he made the pass that time on Labonte. Every time there's an opening, he's trying it. Coming to the front.
So Brett Bodine moves up, and there is Labonte right behind him. Labonte, arguably one of the smoothest drivers on a road race course from among the NASCAR teams. He's competed in the 24 Hours of Daytona with Billy Hagan several times in IMSA, and he gets real close to Brett Bodine.
You can see Terry right there driving real smooth. You were talking about that. He's not on any of those curves. You see he's right at him, but he's not touching him. And he is the contrast to Ernie Irvan, who really hustles the car up on the curves and sideways anywhere he can.
It would be fun to watch a lap of Terry Labonte and then see a lap of, say, Robert Presley.
There's Labonte. He's trying to get that positioning back. Bodine has moved over. He gave him that inside line, but Labonte couldn't make the move.
Those little ripples on the outside of turn 1, it's not a strip of ripples. They call them cow patties, and just like a whole bunch of bumps when you get out there. It'll get your attention not to put the car out there again, because it does upset the handling just a bit.
Yeah, they put that extra pavement out there for you to have a runoff area when you make a little mistake, and then the drivers just take advantage of it and use it. So they have to do something to try to make them stay off of that part of the track.
And there's Labonte shortcutting the curves as he comes out of the inner loop, as most all the drivers do here. And David Green, the Busch Series point leader, is in trouble.
Boy, a lot of attrition early in this race, considering all the yellow flags we've had. These cars are breaking down. We talked about that at the beginning of the show, Neil. You said that a lot of guys have been having trouble this time trying to keep these cars together.
Walk through the garage area, and there's motors laying all over the ground. Jeff Burton had been through 3 engines. A bunch of the guys have used several motors, along with a lot of transmissions. They're just a little bit rough on them right now.
Shauna Robinson makes a pit stop and comes back out, as you saw Todd Bodine get way out on that bonus pavement there at the top of your screen. Jeff Burton as well.
Well, the caution to the wind, that didn't last long, did it?
Use every inch of racetrack you can find.
As soon as they saw the pavement dried off, I guess they thought the grass was dry. But they better be ready when they get out there. We saw one car spin in it.
Climbing the hill, full acceleration, and up to high gear. Bill Elliott classes the field right now as Jack Sprague makes a pit stop. And there's Brett Bodine, that yellow car, diving under Ward Burton. And it's a stop-and-go penalty on Sprague. Apparently, he went through the inner loop without taking all of the loops. And so got a stop-and-go penalty.
If they don't catch you, you can make up a lot of ground doing that.
Yeah.
This car, we're looking at Bill Elliott's car, but go back here. It's listing as Harry Melling, the car owner on this. You know, Bill's drives for Junior Johnson now, and evidently this Busch car belongs to the Melling Racing shop.
Right, that car prepared down in Georgia. Ernie Elliott does the engines and all for Bill. That is a Harry Melling car. So Bill Elliott leads here at Watkins Glen, New York. 18 laps complete.
Yep. Okay, Mike.
Yeah.
On that deal between Bound and Resendez.
Yeah.
Bound was right behind Ricky Craven when he blew. The car stopped suddenly, and Chuck swerved to miss him, and didn't know Resendez was there and got into him. That's all it was.
Okay.
Just one of those deals.
You want to give us that audio?
However they want to do it, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay, they've also changed the drive shaft in the 4-car. Ernie felt the vibration, which probably knocked out the linkage. We'll wait till he calls over the radio to see how it was. He's back out there.
Okay. Okay. All right, sorry. Sure.
Hey, if we get a chance after all, let's get that shot off 4 of those guys jumping that curve that comes right to our camera. What number? Which camera is that?
It's the speed shot.
Speed shot right before we get start finish line. Right when the lead guys come.
When those guys climb that curve, that's kind of fun to just let them roll through.
Nobody jumping when we want to.
Where's Presley? Well,
never mind.
There's Robert. Yeah.
That's not the right shot, though, that you're looking for.
Right.
No? I think the camera needs to be a little more this way to see it. Oh, you're thinking of the inner loop.
The exit of the inner loop.
Yep. That we can see from the in-car best from that tailpipe camera.
Behind the wall.
Behind the wall.
Okay. Welcome back to Watkins Glen, New York. Bill Elliott continues to lead Joe Nemechek. Ernie Irvin has taken his car to the garage area. They replaced a drive shaft. He felt a vibration, ran 1 lap, and then came to the garage.
I tell you, watching these leaders, I'm not so sure Nemechek is not closing it down on Elliott. Bill had a little bit more room. Joe Nemechek is really moving in on him now.
Nemechek, who has 2 top 5 finishes in 2 Busch Series appearances here, closing it down on the race leader.
Earlier, right past this shot here when they went down turn 1, when he really gained on him. Looked like he could pull up on him on braking going down in the corner. See Ward Burton in the 2 cars running 3rd.
And Todd Bodine makes a nice pass on brother Brett.
His brother looked around a little bit, says, I think I'll try it again myself.
Tough place to pass climbing that hill.
Well, you can't pass, actually, unless you have cooperation. And those 2 brothers right now, they're not cooperating too well.
That goes to show you race car drivers don't cooperate a bit. Even when they're brothers, it doesn't help, does it?
I think it's worse if you got your brother. I know my brother, I just as soon hit him as not.
There's Labonte. Labonte took a look back inside Bodine. Going to try to get that position back. Couldn't quite do it.
Glenn Jarrett's got us an update on what happened. What almost happened to Brett Bodine there. What happened to Dave Resendiz? As you watch out from behind Bodine's car, Terry Labonte coming through turn 5 and to that second back straightaway. Here they come. When Ricky Craven's engine let go, Chuck Bound was right behind Craven, did a stab and steer, and when he steered, he got into Resendiz inadvertently, and that sent Dave Resendiz spinning.
I think he just darted over to get out behind the car that blew and accidentally hit Resendiz and just really sent him for a bad ride.
Well, Ward's car's a little loose. Last couple corners, we've seen it dancing quite a bit.
Interesting to see how the Hoosier tire holds up under these conditions. Now, Hoosier, no stranger to road racing. They do tires for a lot of the SCCA cars.
You know, we heard him say earlier they had a Myrtle Beach and a Martinsville tire on it, which is a really soft, as soft a compound just about as you could possibly go with. It'd be interesting to see if it holds up.
Well, Neil, if you think about the corners here that put the most load on the tires, they're pretty much 90-degree, low bank, short track kind of corners. They're just to the right instead of to the left.
Yeah, and before they put that, here's this 8 car, they said just missed the chicane. So he must have had a problem, though, because he's shutting it down. He went through the chicane wrong. He's probably just trying to coast back.
4 engines in one weekend. And this, perhaps, although we don't know what the problem is on Jeff Burton right this moment, he is trying to get down to the pit lane. This is from turn 11.
Yeah, he's pedaling now. There's no power there.
No.
They've lost 3 engines earlier this week. I think they actually flew a motor in from Roush to run in the race. I'm not sure if this is what's happened, but they were scrambling, trying to put some motors together.
Bill Elliott comes by Burton's ailing car, second at, or rather a winner at Myrtle Beach. And it looks like it'll be on the truck early here. There's the gap, first, second, and here's third place Ward Burton. And the fourth place car, Todd Bodine. How about that? Started 18th. Put last year's setup under the car. Said we don't like all the changes we made. We're going back to what we know works pretty well. And he is up to 4th place.
I tell you, racers will do that a lot. You'll run good one time, you come back and you say, boy, I really found something that'll work good. But they went back to their basic setup. It ran, I think it was second last year in this race.
Yes, he was.
And things look like it's coming to him now.
Curtis Markham on pit road with the Skoll car. There's Steve Grissom, and here getting a push from Robert Presley's crew is Jeff Burton.
Okay, we're standing by. Jeff Burton's crew is running up to meet him. They have a transmission problem. Fortunately, this time it's not an engine, but the transmission is out on the car now. He couldn't get to them, so they're running to him. They're going to try to repair him, get him back out there. He's in 4th place in the points.
Going to make that repair behind the wall back toward the garage area.
I guess that's kind of good news, bad news. No motor, transmission gone.
Yeah. It will run, it just won't go. Bill Elliott, you see how much the suspension travels on these 3,200-pound race cars. Ward Burton up there in the pavement, and here comes Robert Presley making the move on Hermie Sadler. You know, he told me this morning, he said, and he's got a little smoke there. Uh-oh, now that's a bad look.
Oh, me, they said he'd just really been making a big move to the front. He just started moving. Here he's pulling over the inside.
Yep.
Yeah, whatever it was, I think he just had the big problem right there. He knows it. He's in trouble.
He said this morning, he said he never really liked Darlington. Then he got to run real well there, and now he loves the place. Of course, he's won there. And he said, I'm getting to like road racing. He says, but it's just not coming as quickly as I'd like. But I'm getting to like it.
Now, there's Presley. He's trying to stay out of the way as much as he possibly can, right over on the side of the racetrack. But still, he's got to cross the line every now and then on the track. But trying his best to stay out of the way. He's let his fast cars by.
Oh, it's a shame. A lot of attrition. They really twist these V6s here. Expect a lot out of them, especially as many times as you shift per lap.
Well, they expect a lot of them. They're getting a lot out of them. Rods, pistons, valves.
You know, a lot of these things will break when these guys break and downshift on the corner. You know, sometimes there's a rev limiter in that thing that keeps it from over-revving, but if you stick it in the next lower gear and let the clutch out, it's going to over-rev and break something.
5th place at stake here, Brett Bodine and Terry Labonte. And you see Todd Bodine has passed Ward Burton.
Well, he is on the move now. I'm not kidding. He's come from way in the back. We've watched him being real aggressive with those passes going in the inner loop. He keeps passing. It's a favorite place of his, I guess. He just moves right on the inside and gets there, buddy.
up to 3rd place, finished 2nd here last year.
There's Roy Payne. They were going by the blue and white car. Must be having a problem. He's way out of speed.
He's a rookie, and it's his first trip here to Watkins Glen. We'll be back with more of the Phase 150 live on the Nashville Network after this.
If they miss the chicane, but don't advance a position, they get a warning first time. Second time they
Is that all? I'd miss it.
You could save brakes doing that.
Yeah, I'd find a lap when I wasn't going to pass anybody, but just move. Yeah. Yeah, we might have somebody talk to Clyde, because Todd is flying about everything what they tried that didn't work, and then what they changed and where they are, and because Todd is flying.
Looks like an oil leak more than anything on this bunch.
Yeah, they got a bunch of oil put back in it.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Another one.
Free. Bill Elliott out in front of the field here, and Joe Nemechek is keeping it a close race. Back at 3rd spot, Todd Bodine started 18th, and he has flown through the field up to 3rd place. The C.C. Welliver team finished 2nd here last year, and he's gained 15 positions. Ward Burton, though, staying right with him in the Hardee's Buick. In 4th place, back at 5th, it'll be Brett Bodine, the yellow car, and Terry Labonte in 6th. Long way back to the 7th place car. So let's ride on board with Brett Bodine. Turn 1.
Boy, here's where you come up into these S's. That's packing it in there tight going up through this section of the track, Dorsey.
You know, the camera doesn't show the elevation change. You're headed straight downhill now. You're going right up that hill, and it's going to turn right here in a second. That's where you get flat up on top of that straightaway.
And I think the other part that's interesting is talking about the flat out. Hold it on the floor. Never lift through that area. You just almost say the car won't make it, but it will.
The trouble with this inner loop is it's hard to pick up where that point is where you turn in, because you're still kind of climbing there. All of a sudden, you're there. You're on it.
You know, we talked earlier, there was those markers there, 500 foot, 400 foot, 300, and you really have to relate to that to be able to see where to get in that corner.
Keeps it real low here through 5. Now you're just starting downhill just a little bit. The track flattens out.
Actually, quite a lot downhill right there. And you're going across a bridge right here. The car wants to get a little loose right where that tree is. Coming across the bridge is a fast left-hander coming up. We see a lot of guys get in trouble here, even though it is left-handed only one.
Not very much banking to deal with, and they usually run off that area. I think that mud's got their attention today.
You watch right here. This is the turn coming straight away. Boom, there's a big bump right there. You saw the car hit it. That gets the car sliding, and that's why they slide up on that curb. They use that white curb to stop the slide. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, and this car we're in is one using that curb more than anyone. He's really using all the surface up.
And Terry Labonte has come to the pit lane at only 28 laps. They're going to put left side tires on Labonte's car and fuel. Not sure if this would be a scheduled stop. 28 of 62 laps completed.
Everybody watches all the oval track racing. Well, they're going with 4 tires here. Those outside tires take the most abuse. Going 4 tires while they got him in.
Seems a little early, doesn't it, Neil?
I would think it's a little bit early. But, you know, this morning in practice, we had about 4 or 5 of the guys go out and run their car out of gas on purpose to see how much they could pick up and how far they could go.
So Labonte back on track after a green flag pit stop. Bobby Dragon, who won here last month, comes limping past, one of the Busch North competitors and former champion of that series. Tom Peck down to the inside there, the black and green SK Tools car, and Hermie Sadler moving along right behind him. Now let's pick up Steve Grissom. He's racing with Bobby Daughter and David Donahue, whose father had a lot of success here at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, when you hear that name, you think road racing.
Mark Donahue.
What a racer. You know, all season long we see Grissom qualify in the back. He usually comes right to the front. He hasn't been able to do that today. He's been struggling just a little bit.
Turn 10. Car transitions there just a bit. He all the way, got to cross all the way back over to line up for turn 11 here. Bobby Donner, he's really slinging that car around Chicago style, isn't he?
Yeah, there he goes. He's going to try it down inside of Donahue.
That might be why he pinched that corner off so much. He was trying to think, I'm going to go inside this lap, and it's going to work easily for the pass.
Locks it up.
Smoking those tires.
Yep. Comes down the hill to turn 2.
If you can get around them there, they're not going to pass you till you get on the back straightaway. There's not any room in the S's for anyone, like you said, unless they cooperate with you and let you try. But you can pretty well hold them up through that section of the track.
Well, it looked like Grissom got the run going up the hill, though. It looked like he had a little bit more going up there. Usually, if he didn't have to lift, I think he did have to lift, but usually if you don't have to lift, you can get him going into the chicane up, and you see one going straight.
Hermie Sadler, yeah.
Missed the chicane.
Maybe they didn't see.
Yeah, and Richard Lassiter is off at the chicane on the left side of the screen there. The car up against the wall with David Greens. He stopped there earlier.
Mike, while we wait, they made the note that if you go through the chicane and don't improve position, there's no penalty. If you improve your position, they will. So I guess if you go through there and you lift, they're not going to penalize them.
I bet if you did that more than once, they'd want to have a word with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to make it a regular route.
No. Bill Elliott, now having opened up his lead on Joe Nemechek considerably, moving up on Curtis Markham, who made a pit stop earlier. Markham from Virginia came off the NASCAR Late Model Sportsman Circuit to go up and drive for Quint Bovair on the Busch North Series.
Let me tell you, people question a lot of times. They say, why will a Bill Elliott or a Earnhardt or some of these guys come in and run a Busch race? Let me tell you, Bill Elliott has not had the type of season he's wanted all year long. They haven't been able to run the Busch Cup. A win right here would be a big shot in the arm for Bill Elliott. I guarantee he doesn't care what this thing pays. He'd like to win a race.
You bet. And there's Richard Lassiter again, this time to the tire wall. New colors for the High Point betting car, black and gold, but yeah, you see how slippery it is. So that's turn 1.
I'd get turned left a little more before I go back out on turn 1.
Yep, bounce over the cow patties there. Back onto the surface. I guess that grass really isn't quite as slick. We feared anybody whose car came to rest would stay at rest, but he was able to get back onto the racetrack.
Well, that's a little bit downhill where he was stuck. He had it headed downhill a little bit also, but boy, thank goodness they've got so much runoff there in turn 1. He slid a long way, still didn't get in the wall.
I'm not going to say anything. I've been down there before.
Yeah, you didn't stop before you got to the wall.
Yeah, me too.
I come about 6 foot shorter than he did.
The car did or you did?
No, the car did.
Oh, good.
It looked so easy getting down in turn 1, so I think I'll go 5 foot deeper.
Yep.
And then we went 150 foot deeper before it stopped wrecking.
Yeah, trouble is there's only 4 feet out the other side of that corner. Bill Elliott continues to lead with 31 laps complete. We are halfway in the Phase 150 at Watkins Glen. We'll be right back. I don't know who that was.
Did the guy spin?
Oh, give him a wave, yeah. Let him go. Grissom got black flag? For what?
It was either him or the car in front of him.
Oh, well,
yeah. Is Hermie in front of him?
The black flag and his request, and his team's request.
Okay.
The radio was out.
Thank
Probably
you.
needs fuel.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
There's a what?
A rock. That could bring out a caution.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can see it in car next time through chicane.
Well, there goes our in-car.
Yep.
You hear that, Billy? See if we can see the rock in the chicane that they're talking about. This shot right here.
Yes.
Goodbye.
How did that thing stop?
I don't know.
TNN Motorsports coverage of the Phase 150 is brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts.
There's Robert Presley. Or rather, here's Bill Elliott, the race leader.
Rear track bar is broken on the car, Mike, that holds the rear end under the car. The rear panhard bar is broken off, dragging, and the rear end's just running around where it wants to go. That bar centers the housing up under the car. You can see that bar dragging on there, and the rear end's just running all over the back of the car.
Tough break for Robert, who will make it back around to pit road and make repairs. Steve Grissom has made a pit stop, so has David Donahue. There's the bar. You saw it underneath the car.
Well, you see the rear end housing just running from side to side. See the rear end just running anywhere it wants to, left side of the car, right side of the car.
Now, is that a rear steer?
More than he wants it to be.
Rear steer. Let's show you a replay of what happened to Richard Lassiter when he got off the course down at turn number 1. Watch top of your screen.
Yeah, he looped it coming off down in turn 1, and I still don't know how this thing stopped in this grass. Usually in dry conditions, that thing goes all the way out, and when you get over here a little further, you'll see they've got tires against this wall, and it's not decorative. It's to absorb some of that lick. He's lucky he didn't hit.
Presley makes it back around to his pit, way up at the head end of pit road.
Looks like Presley need a hook and ladder driver on the rear back there.
I think you're right. So green flag pit stops continue. Steve Grissom has been in, joins the leaders. And a car into the tire wall.
That's Phil Parsons.
Area. It is Phil Parsons, who was running in the top 10. The 7th place car, and he has narrowed up the right side of that car considerably. Matchbox Toys, Oldsmobile of Parsons. And this will bring out the caution flag. A tough break for Steve Grissom among the cars that had already made their pit stop. So at lap 35, the third caution of the day comes out. Ernie Irvan led the first 7 laps, and it's been all Bill Elliott ever since.
Bill's helping him wave the caution flag there.
Let's show you again what happened here.
I can't tell where that corner is quite yet. We'll take a look here. That's off turn 5, I believe, as he's gotten it off on the outside. Hit that grass, no way to stop the car, and he's gone in with the passenger side. That's a hard hit right there.
It's almost like he didn't take the chicane. You know, he was coming through so fast, but we talked earlier how even if you take that inner loop back there, you can get it up fast enough through that corner and still have a problem.
Hey, you're accelerating back there now instead of braking, so he could have got down in there and, you know, just got in there too hot. Easy to do. Once you get in that grass, guardrail's the next thing you see.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a downhill run where he was going also in that grass.
So the pace car should pick up Bill Elliott as the race leader.
Boy, I tell you one thing interesting there is Presley went by just in front of that pace car there, so he luckily didn't lose another lap. They came in on that bar and must have went back out with the bar bad.
Came in under green.
I almost questioned, did he lose that? That was him just went in front of the pace car. No, they got the rear end back under now, I think.
No, there's Presley. You may have seen Richard Lassiter. I think that's Presley going to the garage.
You're
now,
right.
So.
Sorry. Well, it was a black car. What do I know?
Pretty close. And they say the panhard rod is still loose on Presley's car. They're going to see if they can refit it and get him back out for some Busch points.
Well, it was getting close to time for regular pit stops because we'd already had one of the pit crews had already motioned for one of their drivers, big black flag, to bring them in. So we were getting close to pit stops. This will come in handy for these guys.
You know, Mike, one time when I was running with the Dodge crew way back when, we were running a front-wheel drive car. And, we had the panhard barred brake. It actually made the car better because the car wouldn't turn in very good. Boy, it turned in good, but they black flagged me anyway.
You should have come out with new design after that.
I told them, let's get a little rear steer.
Going to be pit stops under caution for all the race leaders. With 35 laps complete, we're just a little past halfway. We'll be right back. Okay. Yeah, just for a second.
Boy, that's what you don't want here. you know, have it dry on this end and all of a sudden pour like crazy.
I don't know what Phil was doing that caution flag.
I think he wanted them put it. I don't think they had it out quick enough.
Yep. He wouldn't look so upset if he didn't own that thing.
Was that his?
Yeah.
He'll have to sell a few Matchbox more toys to get it fixed.
Wonder if they build him a Matchbox car with dents down the side.
Be out next week.
In Neil Bonnet Racing Souvenir Collectibles.
No.
At Hueytown.
When I was a kid, I just beat them with a hammer, make them look like they've been in a race.
Yep. Okay.
Stroke jack. You see?
Yeah. Please.
Exclusive coverage of the Phase 150 on the Nashville Network is brought to you by AC Delco. It's like buying time.
We're under caution here at Watkins Glen. All the cars on the lead lap came in and made pit stops, and now cars a lap or more down are making their stops under this caution period. Our AC Delco mid-race recap, sponsored by AC Delco Automotive Parts, available for almost any vehicle to help your car or truck last and last. 2 leaders, Ernie Irvin and Bill Elliott. Only the 1 lead change. Average speed slowed by caution to 86.5 miles per hour as of the halfway point here. 2 cautions for 8 laps prior to the one that we are under right now, and 5 cars are out of the race. Bobby Dragon, David Green, Jeff Burton, Ernie Irvin, and Mike Stefanik. 21 cars still running on the lead lap. Now that included Phil Parsons, whose car has impacted the tire wall at turn 5 and brought out this 3rd caution of the day. That recap sponsored by AC Delco. It's like buying time. Phil Parsons is going to buy a little time and a little sheet metal and a little bit more to get this car back ready for its next Busch Grand National race.
Yeah, they got the rollback back there behind it, fixing to pull it up on the flatbed. I was kind of concerned if they could afford to get the trucks off in that kind of area and not get the truck stuck.
Well, they got a wrecker there to pull out the rollback, I guess, if need be. There's the turn 5 area you see. And he was accelerating through the middle of the corner, and it appeared the car went off, well, just about where the mid-corner point would be as you start to hunt down for the apex.
There's a good shot right there. Shows you how much downhill that is. That's a deep downhill angle. He was already started down the hill when the car took off on him.
And with the grass slick from the morning rain, the top of the screen, the camping area you see there, is part of the boot section that's used by the IMSA road race cars and makes this an 11-turn road course rather than the 7 that the NASCAR cars use. And there's a look at the boot down in the lower right-hand corner of your screen.
And I can tell you for sure, you do not want to break down back down there to tow that boot, because it is the longest walk you'll ever take through the woods to come home.
Well, they'll get you out next week.
Yes, all right.
Yeah, or the folks with the campers will help you.
The radio doesn't even work back to the pits.
I think you're right. Folks, since we have a break here and they're going to load up Phil Parsons' car, figure out the best way to get it back to the pits without further damage, let's take another break here from Watkins Glen. We'll be right back with live coverage of the Phase 150.
There's all kind of deer and stuff back down in there.
That's what they say.
Yeah. I mean, you could be running 24 hours with me running all over the place.
Who was leaving yesterday? I didn't have any idea how far back down it goes. I was leaving that road way back there.
Yeah, it adds a mile more on this race course.
You ever go out there in the car and run back there?
No.
It's neat down there. It's real pretty down the hollow. Unless you break it.
Make that left down there. It's all downhill. You're hunting the apex, but you're still going downhill and you're accelerating at the same time. Then the next corner, the straightaway is kind of flat. The next corner is like climbing a hill and back down. It's like a roller coaster. You can fly it off in there because the road all goes up, and then as soon as you got to cut the car, all of a sudden it's flat. some real sadist designed this place.
Yeah. There's an old creek down there, and it broke down. I carried 5 gallons of gas down in the car, thinking it was out of gas, which it wasn't, but carried it down there. And
carried it by hand?
Yeah, by hand. I had a hand. Got down there, and I didn't know there was a creek there. I fell in the darn middle of the night, dropped my gas can, spilled all the gas.
Gosh, look at that torn up junk in there.
There's a long on an oval, but they can't get in the...
What's he up to?
Okay. Oh. No, what I want to do is, it was pretty much standard procedure down here, guys. All 4 tires for everybody. Nobody made one chassis adjustment. What I thought I might do is throw it back up to you guys and say, you know, how can you make your cars better on a road course? We watch guys work on cars all day long at the ovals, but they don't do it here.
Okay.
I think most of it's done in the seat, trying to get used to it.
Gotcha.
President of NASCAR.
Big crowd. One more lap, and we may get back to green here at Watkins Glen, New York. The Phase 150, 38 of 62 laps are completed. The lineup for a single file restart. David Donohue's had a long pit stop with the hood up on his number 96. The NPA Oldsmobile to ride with Brett Bodine. Under caution here. You see that light blue triple and in some places 4-strand high guardrail that rings this circuit. Requirement of the Formula One circuit when they raced here. 60s, 1970s. A lot of grandstands and then a lot of infield and outfield camping type area too. Yuck.
That got into those tires and it really wads the car up. You know, it absorbs the energy, but I'm telling you, it really beat up the side of that race car. They also took this occasion too to get David Green's car, which was stalled back at the inner loop. They pulled it back into the garage area.
And Phil Parsons' car going past. Looks like they did the bodywork of the bag of lumpy walnuts.
Well, I'm in the 75 pits, a car driven by Scott Lagacy, his first start in Busch Grand National Racing. He's doing a great job. He's running the top 10 all day. They're making a toe-in adjustment on the car. Scott said the car was really loose and it was darting around on the racetrack. This is something you very rarely see during a race, but because it takes so long to get around here under caution, you have time to do it. The car's been a little loose, but Scott in the Mark III Vans Food Country car has done a real good job today. They're hoping to get him back down in there and hope he can get back into the top 10.
What'll that change do for him?
Well, they're assuming right now that the car's towed out too much. And under braking or when you meet bumps in the track with the 2 tires, front tires pointing out, the car wants to wander and get a little bit darty, and that's what Scott's complaining about. He says it's real loose, which means it's turning in too quickly probably. And if you tow a car out, the car turns in real quick, but the back end comes out real quick too. So they're trying to fix both those problems at one time for him.
And they'll get him away before the field comes back to put another lap on the board. Looks like one more lap of caution now that Phil Parsons' car is headed for the garage. And they may get that indication that it'll be green next time by. 38 laps complete. The field has shuffled somewhat after pit stops. Terry Labonte led a couple of laps here. And he is currently the man up front. You see Hermie Sadler and Mike Stefanik and Steve Grissom on the tail end of the lead lap. Then here are your lead lap cars as they came off pit road.
That puts Elliott having to work some traffic to try to get back to the lead, and that's pretty tough at times on this track.
So they come back to start finish. There will be 4 cars on the tail end of the lead lap in front of the race leader when they get the green. Race leader being Terry Labonte, Chuck Bound, then Ward Burton, Bill Elliott, Joe Nemechek, Todd Bodine, and then likely the cars of Tracy Leslie, Tom Peck, Brett Bodine, Mike Wallace, and Bobby Daughter. That's a very unofficial rundown as they come past under the caution here. Next weekend, we'll be going up to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for a little beer and bratwurst in the Haviland 250. Busch Grand National Race, our first telecast from the Milwaukee Mile for the Busch Series cars. We'll be live on 2 p.m. Eastern here on TNN. Let's get a break in before we go back to green flag racing here in the Phase 150 at Watkins Glen.
We'll be right back.
Best deal.
Yeah. Okay. The dog just couldn't stand the excitement, could he?
I don't think it's him excited as a fire.
Can we have a rundown, please? Cars on the lead lap. Thank you. See how close I was here.
Pretty good.
Damn. Don't know my own strength. Yeah.
He was dead on.
So far. Scary.
Let's start calling you Judy Stropus.
Gail, yeah, anytime we get pit stops like that, as quick as you can give us a rundown, just knock us something out after they come back out. Thanks. Thanks.
21 laps.
He hadn't taken the pit cameras too often. Like, I've been trying to get shots. It's like, he doesn't even see us. So like Kramer said, just sit the cameras down.
Okay. Welcome back to Watkins Glen. Light is out on the safety cars. Our TNN live coverage of the Phase 150 continues. Speaking at live at 5:30 Eastern today, NHRA Today airs live from Topeka Raceway. The NHRA Tour is out there in force. We'll get a live update from Steve Evans and the crew at 5:30 p.m. here on TNN. And then tomorrow, final round coverage of the NHRA event will be right here on TNN live as well. The Western Auto Nationals, that's tomorrow live at 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
Right over by my house.
Pace car is in. We're back under green. 40 of 62 laps. Complete as they come by the stripe. And Terry Labonte moves to the outside, trying to put a lap on Steve Grissom as they come down the hill to turn one. Combs there, one lap down in the number 1 car. A lot of jostling. Ward Burton trying to break through that pack, and Joe Nemechek. Grissom got a lap down because he pitted under green before that caution came out. So he was 1 lap off the pace. Labonte moving around Mike Stefanik. The Auto Palace car, Valvoline machine, and he's Grissom would then be up for position, but Grissom sails on past. So Labonte has a little cushion. A couple of lap cars back to the second place car, which is now Chuck Bound.
Labonte's the type guy can really take advantage of it. He's so smooth, he's going to make you work hard to come to him.
Yep, here you'll see a very different leader style than when Ernie Irvin led at the start of the race. Bill Elliott, right on the trail of Chuck Bound, pulls alongside.
3 wide, these guys really going at it now.
Yeah, this is where I thought we'd see a lot of cars run off. That little flat turn right there really puts the guys in a bind coming across that corner.
Turn 10. Ward Burton got past Bound, as did Bill Elliott there. Joe Nemechek right behind him, and there goes Jack Sprague and Joe Bessie at turn 10.
I should not have said that. But they're able to get back on.
Bessie drives back on. There goes Sprague. So apparently it's dried up a good bit here.
I think I saw in turn 1 a while ago, they've actually ran off the track so many times now, they got dust flying.
Yes. And Scott Lagasse bring the Charlie Henderson car back onto pit road.
That's a shame for Scott. He must have some sort of trouble because they made that adjustment. We see some smoke actually coming out of another car here. I don't think that's him.
Now Hermie Sadler, closest to your screen, is trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. Terry Labonte pulls up on him.
Boy, in a place like this, if you get a lap back, that's a pretty good accomplishment. You go down here, it's hard to get it back.
Well, Labonte dives to the inside.
The next corner is left-hander, so he's going to have to go a long way up toward the front, which he does do to make that pass.
Yeah, Sadler actually had the line. Looks like Labonte ain't clearing there. You tried on the outside, but you got to be pretty risky to do it.
Elliott, Burton, then Nemechek.
Todd Bodine was really running good. He lost a few positions on that pit stop. We see much behind Nemechek. Nemechek going to the inside, get under Grissom. I've been out from right behind Grissom also trying to get him before he get in the S's.
Well, that track's totally dry now, so you can move all over, and all the racetrack that's out there, you can use it all right now.
And Grissom, being a lap down, doesn't want to mess up the race for the lead. So he has a pretty good car, and then Chuck Bound is the last of that pack that is on the lead lap. Then Tracy Leslie. A little further back, Tom Peck, Brett Bodine, and Mike Wallace.
We see Elliott's got around Hermie Sadler now. That puts him directly behind Labonte.
Bound moves around the David Donahue car.
David's staying out of the way, too. Yeah, we saw that whole pack coming. He just goes inside, let him go.
And Joe Bessie's gone to pit road. He might have done something underneath the car when he slid off there at turn 10.
There's Ward Burton taking a look inside of Sadler. That was 1, 2, 3 cars. Nothing in between them now.
And Nemechek and Bodine. Here's Ward up and over. That little apron out of the outside edge of turn 11.
Nemechek going to really... Oh.
Dick McCabe and Richard Lassiter. Who's lost the wheel?
Yeah, the entire tire off the rim, it looked like. Looked like it was dismounted off the rim.
I guess McCabe. Scott Lagacy has gone to the garage, we're told. And
through the whole tread.
Yep, through the entire tread off of it.
Well, it's off the racetrack.
And luckily for him, that's only one turn away from the pits, and now he's on pit lane.
Yep. Dick McCabe, the right rear is down on that car. Let's have another look here at turn 10.
Well, they're coming in. Looks like a pass being made. Can't see the tire come off yet. There it goes on the backside.
Came off going down the straightaway.
I tell you what, there's a good save right there when you don't have a tire on the car. That must have been cut down and run low and just blew out all at once.
There's Robert Presley. He's back out on the track. We see him going by on the left.
And there's McCabe, lobster bait fisherman from Kennebunkport, Maine.
There's one coming straight across. Left front tire down.
Yeah, that's Lassiter. That was the other car involved. McCabe got off the racetrack. We're stay under green here at 44 laps. Let's have another look here. Different angle.
Coming down there. Looks like the right rear is, like you said, probably low pressure. Looks like it's already out from under the car now. Yellow car up there. Had that problem down the straightaway.
And Lassiter comes all the way around here with the left front down.
Well, when you got a front tire down like that, you really abuse that front end and wear the front end stuff out. Bill Elliott, that was a pass for the lead. Elliott took the lead away from Labonte.
Well, that's tough doing because Labonte, along with Ricky Rudd, acknowledged the two best traditional road racers on the circuit, as opposed to the guys who slide the car around like Irvin and Earnhardt.
Well, we talked earlier, Mike, about the motor being by Ernie Elliott. Ernie did all the development work, or the bulk of it, for Ford Motor Company on the V6 program, and I'm sure that thing's got plenty of motor in it.
Let's show you that pass for the lead once again as Elliott took the lead from Labonte. Was coming up toward the inner loop.
He got inside. It's a simple out-braking maneuver. He's going to just hold Terry out there and turn in. There's nothing Terry can do until Bill moves first.
You notice how the give and take on road courses is different than it is on an oval. Somebody's going to overtake you down in a braking zone, and oftentimes you'll see the car being passed, ease up into that corner so he can tack right back onto the rear bumper so that it really doesn't slow either car down too much. Rather than to try to race him off into the corner, you don't have room to do that here like you would on an oval track.
Well, that's a good observation, actually. That's a good road racers will work together, because if you run side by side, it's going to slow you up. A guy behind you in third place can set you up and pass both your cars. So if you're going to be passed, the guy gets inside, you let him have it, tuck back in, and go on to the next one.
Brett Bodine appears to be, well, he is out of the race, out of the car anyway. Trouble on the Faye's Drugstores machine. That a second car from the Grieche stable, Mike McLaughlin. And this was a brand new race car. Never been run before it came here to Watkins Glen today, but Harry Mike Grieche will take that one home. A short day for Brett Bodine. Ashton Lewis, rookie from Virginia, also is on pit road. trying to stretch it out just a little bit from Terry Labonte. But Labonte reels him back in at turn 1. And here, Joe Nemechek to the inside of Dick McCabe, trying to move up on Ward Burton. Elliott up through the S's.
Boy, when he did this earlier, once he got the lead earlier, he was able to stretch it out a good bit. See Burton trying to pull these guys back in.
You know, Terry's right there with him. I think what happened was Bill and Terry caught in traffic, and Terry got held up a little bit. Bill saw it, took the opportunity, moved to the inside, and just had him trapped in there. Because right now they're running about the same speed on the racetrack.
It looks as if Ward Burton could be gaining on him. Let's go to pit road. Here's Glen.
Brett Bodine is crawled from the Phase Drugs car. Brett, what happened out there?
Oh, Glenn, the start of the race, the car developed a high-end skip. I think we had a battery a little low on voltage or something, making the ignition make the motor skip. But the car was running pretty good. You know, we got ourselves up to 4th or 5th there. And then after the pit stops, it looks like we broke a motor mount in the car. As I would go through the chicane, the throttle would hang wide open. And I couldn't figure out why. So we pulled the floor mat out. You know, sometimes the floor mat will hang the throttle. Pulled that out. I went and tried it again, and it stuck wide open again. I said, that's enough for me. Come to find out, the throttle hung up. The motor mount broke and making the throttle hang.
Okay, that's the story from Brett. Back to you, Mike.
So Brett out of the race. Donnie Richardson crewing that car. Who is Brett's Winston Cup crew chief.
Boy, it's bad enough on a round track when you hang the throttle up on a place like this where you got to finesse that gas pedal, plus do it so many times in one lap. That's the thing to do, park it.
Here's the Napa Field Standing Update brought to you by Napa, because there are no unimportant parts. Where your favorite driver was at 40 laps. Nemechek trying to track down Ward Burton. These two drivers trying to maintain point position. Head from here to Milwaukee next week, and so will TNN to bring you the Haviland 250 live. Then the following weekend, we're at Loudon, New Hampshire for the first ever Winston Cup race, along with the Busch North cars and the NASCAR Modified Tour on Saturday, July 10th and 11th at the new New Hampshire International Speedway. Plenty of tickets left for Saturday. Sunday, we're told, is the grandstand sold out. You'll see it all here on TNN.
George, I think you're right about that thing about the 14 car, the white car here of Labonte. Once Bill made that pass, he hasn't been able to do a whole lot to it. Labonte seems to be able to pull up on him when he wants to.
I think they just got hung up in traffic, and Bill made the pass. And Terry looks to be content just to sit and ride for a little while, maybe save the tires for a run later on.
There we see that inner loop. There's that big piece of tire that was off earlier. Ooh, it's a worker. Jumped back over the fence.
Well, that could be a new one. Kelly Moore just came to pit road with dragging the right rear. So
maybe that's where they deposit them all, right on that corner over there when they go around.
Wonder if they get the nickel.
I doubt it. No.
Kelly Moore, one of the Busch North regulars. Going to fit a new right rear to that car and get it back out. 48 laps complete. Bill Elliott leading Terry Labonte. Ward Burton and Joe Nemechek, 3rd and 4th, the highest placed Busch Grand National regulars. We'll be right back to Watkins Glen after this. It continues to lead here at Watkins Glen, trying to win his first ever Busch Grand National race. Elliott has never seen success in that series. Is that correct? We'll double check that.
Yeah, that kind of shocks me to say that, because Bill's, been in a lot of the races like that. Like I said earlier, he needs a win just simply because of the way his Winston Cup season's been going, but certainly be big for him to win his first one here.
So Elliott out of turn 10. He's going to come through 11 here, looking for that little bit of bonus pavement up and on the outside of the track. You see, he just barely ticks the edge of the white there, and so does Labonte. Now, not everybody is so conservative coming out of turn number 11. We taped this a lap or two ago. Watch this in real time. Tracy Leslie.
Well, Tracy's having a magic moment right there. I'll tell you what. He came all the way across the curb, and that big blue thing there is that guardrail, and I don't think he was an inch from it.
He hit everything but the guardrail.
Yeah, the white apron strip is one thing. The blue strip, that one's hard.
The blue stripe is what it is.
You know, you said they put that ribbon, all this guardrail here when the Formula One guys are here. It wouldn't have made me mad if they took it with them when they left. That was always very intimidating going up through those S's when you see that big railing up above your car.
We remember a couple of years ago, Mark Martin had a big accident right there in the middle of that S. There's nowhere to go. Somebody spins in front of you, you're going to be right with them.
51 of 62 laps, so 11 to go. Mike Wallace having a good battle with Bobby Dotter. Now, this has been going on just about the whole race. For most of it, Dotter has been ahead. But now it is Mike Wallace who leads Bobby Dotter. Good battle here. And again, a couple of guys that are not known as being road racers.
Yeah, Mike has been taking some of his tips from his brother Rusty, because Rusty gets around this road race course real good. If you remember, he won here just a few years back in the Winston Cup race.
Keeping close tabs on one another. And there's two Oldsmobile, the FDP brakes car, and the DeWalt Tools car for Dotter. This is Bill Elliott's 28th Busch Grand National start, third twice. His best finish in this series for his first win.
The Wallace brothers, they grew up on those windy roads where I did. We'll talk about using the curve. Here we go again.
Well, Bobby Dotter grew up in Chicago, and they drive on the curbs there sometimes.
Sometimes it's the safest place.
Yeah.
Almost curb service there.
Very close to it. This battle is at about 10th place. You see Robert Presley back on the racetrack. And you're back up with the race leader. Man who hopes to notch his first Busch Grand National victory today.
He's put a lot of distance between him and Terry Labonte. I don't know if that's through traffic or if he's just running better right now, but he's opened up a big gap right there.
10 laps to go.
Yeah, I sure thought that, you know, maybe Labonte had a little something for Bill. They could pull up here at the end, but looks like Bill's really pouring it on now. Okay, somebody's coming on. Look here. Here's Ward Burton diving to the inside. He was a good big way back behind him. He's kind of closing in on Labonte now.
Yep, and bringing Nemechek right with him.
Yep.
Boy, I'm impressed with Ward. I've been watching this year. I haven't met him before this year, but watching this, how good this young man's been doing. And last few races, he's been a dominant guy here in the Busch Grand National Series.
He's running in third place with Nemechek fourth. Todd Bodine is fifth. Chuck Bound is sixth. Tracy Leslie seventh. Tom Peck is eighth. Mike McLaughlin is ninth. Mike Wallace presently 10th. Bobby Dotter is 11th. And Tim Fedowa is being posted unofficially in 12th place. Then a lap down, Steve Grissom, Hermie Sadler, Dick McCabe, Kelly Moore, and Rodney Combs, along with Curtis Markham. And 10th place. Bobby Dotter is going to take it back as they come up the hill from Mike Wallace.
Just before he got in those S's, you got to make that pass before you get in, and he was able to do it.
And they're going to pick up lap traffic here in just a minute, so that could change back around. I'm pretty sure that race isn't over yet.
No, I don't think so. There's 9th and 10th.
Boy, once he got away from him, he moved on out a good little bit.
Yep, Dotter's a little bit quicker right now. Bill Elliott trying to hang on, and Ward Burton got real loose that time coming off turn one.
Yeah, you could look over everybody's shoulder, and there was Burton sideways. He's trying his best to reel in that second place position of Labonte.
Looks like he's doing it. He's stretched out Nemechek a bit. He's got 6 laps. Find a way to catch Labonte for second place points. Remember that Burton, even though he would be, if the race ended now, the first Busch Grand National regular to finish, would still get just third place points. Nemechek in fourth. He's been a pleasant surprise as far as his prowess on the road course here. Looking for his third straight top 5 finish at Watkins Glen.
They said they came up, did some testing, and did a good bit of practice on the track, and it's really helped. The car's been right in the middle of it all day long.
A number of the drivers went out to Bob Bondurant's school on the West Coast, and 5 of them, led by Todd Bodine, went to Bernal Ruse School at Pocono International Raceway this week to pick up some pointers. Todd, Shauna Robinson, 3 other drivers went. Let's go to Glen.
Well, Mike, Todd Bodine has another problem right now. I just spoke with his wife. Todd has lost lost his eye contact in the car somewhere. He cannot see. He's just feeling his way around the racetrack right now. The crew's all sitting over here in the back of their pit stall over there with their heads hung down, kind of shaking their heads. They don't know whether to laugh or whether to cry, but Todd's having a real hard time seeing right now.
I tell the blue car to move. Here it comes.
Or he may be using that as a guidepost.
Yeah.
That may be the one thing he can see. Blue car and blue guardrail. But you see in 5th place, he's got a good advantage over 6th place Chuck Bound.
I guess if you race long enough, everything's going to happen. That's rare for that to happen.
You don't think they'll ever find that lens, do you?
No. I don't think I would look.
No, I wouldn't bother. Ward Burton, 3rd place car. All chasing Bill Elliott.
Now, Burton is using up the racetrack. There's 2 guys in front of him running a pretty straight line. Burton's kind of got a sniff of Labonte up there. He says, hey, if I stand on this thing, I got a chance to catch him. He's really slinging the car around the track.
I think he is catching him, too. I do believe he is. He's really using the racetrack up, trying to get up to him. And it looks like that gap is closing to me.
Boy, on this road course stuff, sometimes, Dorsey, you know yourself, if you can do that for 3 or 4 laps and really gain, but if you keep abusing it, sometimes you start going the other way. He abuses it a little bit too much. But we see right here, he's really closed it down.
He is. The problem is, Neil, is exactly what you're saying. If he runs real hard like this, he can catch up and then maybe not be able to do anything with him when he gets there if he gets these tires too hot. He is using the racetrack up right now.
Well, there's just under 4 laps to go, so it's time to let it hang out if you're going to do it.
Seems like he makes up ground braking, then they're coming through the S's. They got away from him a little bit. It's such a long shot, it's hard to tell who's gaining on who. Such a long shot down that back straightaway.
One thing for sure, you can see Ward's car wiggling a whole lot more than the rest of them, so you know he's right there on the edge with that car. But you're right, it's hard to tell if he's gaining as much ground or losing ground with that long camera angle like that.
You put Burton in the category of the Dale Earnhardts and the Rusty Wallaces and the Ernie Irvins, the guys who throw a car around a road course, rather than the Bill Elliott's, Terry Labonte's, Ricky Rudds, the fellows who finesse the car around the course.
Yeah, the 2 guys in front of Burton, I don't think they're going to just make a big error. I think it's going to take him pick up the pace to be able to beat him.
He's picking it up all he can. It'll be 3 laps to go. In fact, Ward Burton told Glen Jarrett yesterday that he has kind of, well, what we might call the Neil Bonnet approach to getting prepared to go road racing here. Ward?
Well, I've raced road courses and go-karts all the time when I was younger. I'm not sure that applies much here, but went to Ross Birtle School, and that helped me some. He taught me a lot about technique. But the main thing is you just got to hang it out, and I'm not going to get the smooth drive award, that's for sure. I'm just trying to go as fast as I can and match on the gas as quick as I can.
I'd say he's doing it.
Yeah, I bet he's mashing as hard as he can right now. He's a pleasure to listen to it.
I like him. I tell you what, first time I saw him on TV, I knew right away I like him a lot.
It's a good thing he races faster than he talks.
Yeah.
As you always say, Mike.
That's it. Well, he'll toss the car around. You know, Elliott and Labonte are very technical road racers. They don't put the car up on the curbing. They don't get the car sideways, get it out of shape. But they gobble up a lot of ground. But look what Burton is doing with Labonte. Oh, Mike McLaughlin is off. He was the 7th place car. That's at turn 1.
Oh, that's going to be costly.
And there's a whole gaggle of cars in front of them. These guys have been going at it pretty hard, too. And, you know, race is heating up here. Got 3 laps to go, and everybody's fighting no matter if it's for 9th. They want to be 8th.
That'll drop McLaughlin back to 12th spot. And amazingly, he spins at 3 laps to go, just as he did when he was leading here last month. He's the Busch North point leader and the highest placed of those drivers in this race. 2 to go. Or, excuse me, 4 laps to go. My mistake. 4 laps to go. 62 is the distance. You know, it's hard. We'll have another look, but let's see what happened to Mike McLaughlin here.
See him getting down in? No, here he comes. Boy, he's already sideways, way back on the straightaway up there.
Yeah, you know, that's a downhill braking zone, and what happens sometimes you brake and you get that back axle hopping up and down. If it starts hopping the axle, it'll turn around on you. I think that's what happened to him because he's backwards when we saw him coming to the corner.
Back with Bill Elliott, the race leader, trying to win his first Busch Series race in 28 career starts.
Just what he doesn't need, a lot of traffic. Well, that traffic didn't stay there long. Dropped 22 of them.
And Labonte and Burton. Now, where they catch the traffic? Well, there's Curtis Markham off the course. Spinning out of turn 11 to the entrance of pit road.
another track bar.
It did indeed, because that one wheel sticking way out, and in fact it is. You can see the whole rear end housing going back and forth there.
That's extreme.
One thing it causes that is just, we talk about throwing the car. That bar holds the rear end centered under the housing, under the frame rails, and just throwing it left and right just really abuses that part of the car.
Bill Elliott that time braking for turn one got the car twitching a little bit, so I think Terry Labonte putting the pressure on. Bill's having to run the car awful hard. Yeah. And Ward Burton right behind Terry pushing equally hard.
Yeah, he sees that white car coming. Trying to get him a little bit more room, got a little bit hot.
When you watch a driver like an Elliott or a Labonte, it's kind of hard to picture how hard he's working in that car because the car looks so smooth.
Well, you're right about that. You know, when these guys just keep the car looking like it's straight all the time, what they're really doing, the car's sliding, but they're stopping the slide so quick and so early that you don't catch it. You can definitely catch Ward Burton sliding through this corner.
They work on Curtis Markham's car.
That panel bar broke coming down in that corner, and now he's chasing that rear end all over the place.
That's a good save, you know, with that panel bar broke like that.
That's a turn 11. There you see he ends up right at the entrance to pit road.
There's a big bump in that corner 11 there. That could have been what broke it. When he hit that bump, it could have just broke that thing in half, and their rear end went right out from under the car.
Elliott laps past Robert Presley, who broke a track bar earlier. And there's the separation.
Yeah, it looks like Burton's lost a little bit of ground now. Either Labonte is picking it up, trying to catch Elliott. There's a little gap there now.
Burton and Nemechek, third and fourth, highest of the Busch regulars. And as virtually everyone predicted, a couple of talented Winston Cuppers when it comes to road racing lead the field. Not Ernie Irvan as predicted by many. Irvan exited the race early with transmission woes, drive shaft trouble. But Bill Elliott and Terry Labonte leading Ward Burton.
Look how flat that car is. He just turns it in there. He's real gentle with the car. He's not sliding it at all. They're studying contrast when you look back and you see Ward in there and you see the car lifting the wheels up in there and sliding.
Yeah, and you got to appreciate both of them. Here's some guys with a lot of experience easing the car around, but you got to appreciate somebody like Burton that says, hey, man, I'm going to make this thing go fast, sideways, or whatever. And that smoothness will just come with lap after lap on these racetracks.
And that's what he said. He said, I might not be the smooth guy, but I'm going to drive this car as hard as I know how to drive it. And by golly, he's right there doing a good job doing that.
First, second, third, and fourth. White flag for Bill Elliott. Has one lap to complete for what will certainly be the high point of his season to date.
I promise you, if he wins this race, he's going to tell you a win is a win no matter what type of racing you're in.
Harry Melling listed as car owner. Hardy Boys Racing is what's on the pit board sign.
It's a group out of Georgia, dealership and all in Georgia. A good bunch of people.
It's fun to win a race like this, and nobody gave him this race. He's got some hard competition, been pushing him all day from behind, so it's a wonderful deal when you outrace all your buddies.
He passed Ernie Irvan for the lead at lap 8. Terry Labonte got in front on pit stops. It wasn't long before Elliott motored past and back into the front spot. There's Labonte. Looks like to hold on to second over the two Busch point chasers, Ward Burton and Joe Nemechek.
I find it so hard to believe that Bill Elliott has never won a Busch Grand National.
Yeah, I thought that was a mistake earlier myself. He's been in a lot of these races.
You know, I said it and I wasn't sure I believed it, so we had to look it up.
Or smoke in there coming in that corner. Elliott's got to get there yet.
So Bill Elliott, for the first time in 28 Busch Grand National starts, will go to victory lane. Winner of the Phase 150 by about 20 car lengths over Terry Labonte. Labonte about 2 seconds ahead of Ward Burton in third, and Joe Nemechek pedals it on the last lap, comes home in a solid fourth place. Looking for Todd Bodine, who has been the fifth-place car through much of this run in the fiddle paddle car. Hometown favorite for the C.C. Welliver team. He notches a top 5 finish.
You got to wonder with his contacts out, does he know the checker's out?
Or is he still racing? I hope they've told him on the radio. Chuck Bound crosses the line for 6th. Tracy Leslie comes across in 7th. And unofficially, Tom Peck will be 8th. Mike Wallace and Bobby Dotter, the top 10. We'll be right back. Sports exclusive coverage of the Phase 150 has been brought to you by Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Been a long time for Bill Elliott to roll into victory lane as he wins the Phase 150 this afternoon at Watkins Glen, New York, leading 45 of the 62 laps. Here's Glenn.
Well, by far the biggest smile we've seen on Bill Elliott's face this year. Bill, that had to feel great.
It really did. You know, we knew the car was pretty good when it was in practice the other day, but, you know, we knew Ernie was going to be good, too, and we really didn't know how good Ernie was going to be, and he had problems there at first of the race. But, you know, as we went on there, I thought Nemechek was really going to come on strong there, but, you know, I kind of got away from him, and then I thought Terry was going to give me a run for my money, but, you know, then I finally got away from him a little bit.
Has to help end a lot of the frustration of this season so far, doesn't it?
Anytime we lead a lap, it beats nothing. I'll tell you what, you know, we've struggled so hard in the Winston Cup stuff, and to come here and finally win, you know, especially in a Busch race, you know, we've been kind of competitive this year, but, you know, Gene and all the guys and Charles and all the people back at the Ford dealership, they've done a good job, and they've worked hard, and they've really put a good car together.
Well, congratulations, Bill. This may be the thing that helps him turn this season around in both Winston Cup and Busch Grand National. Randy?
Well, Ward Burton's just climbed out, a little smile on his face. Dorsey Schrader and Neil Bonnet really like your style. You were slinging it around out there pretty good, had a good run today.
Well, I don't know how much style I had. I tell you what, I definitely didn't get the smooth drive award out there, but all this crew gave me a good car, and the Hoosier Towers did a great job. They just keep doing it every week for me.
What about it? A lot of guys had problems today. You guys chased points all year long. A lot of the front runners had problems. Good points day for you.
It is a good day. You know, our main thing was our main thing was to finish this race, and we were lucky enough not to have any things happen where we couldn't do that. So it turned out to be a good day. I'll take top 5 here anytime.
All right, congratulations. Good run, Ward.
Thanks a bunch, Randy.
Thanks, Randy. A lot of live racing coming up on TNN tomorrow. Here's first, Craftsman. When seconds count, there's no time for second best. The official tools of NASCAR present the Busch Series points. Steve Grissom will leave here with the lead, taking it over from David Green. Chuck Bound will be third in the points. Ward Burton to fourth, and Robert Presley hangs on to fifth place in the point standings. Joe Nemechek to sixth, Todd Bodine to seventh, Jeff Burt slides to eighth, Tom Peck and Hermie Sadler will be the top 10 in the point standings. Coming up tomorrow, the AC Delco Challenge Series of the ASA. Tomorrow live 2 p.m. Eastern, the Brainerd 300. You'll see that one live here on TNN. Tonight, NHRA Today live at 5:30 p.m. And then from Milwaukee, the Haviland Formula 3 250. Sunday, July 4th, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That's live, of course, here on TNN. Neil and Glenn and I will be out there at Milwaukee. And then the following weekend, July 10th and 11th, we'll be at Loudon, New Hampshire. The Busch North cars at the Modifieds on Saturday, and Sunday, July 11th, the first ever NASCAR Winston Cup race on Bob Baer's beautiful new New Hampshire International Speedway, the Slick 50 300. Let's give you some of the finish as we have it from the Phase 150. Elliott, the winner, Labonte second, Burton, the first Busch Series regular, Nemechek fourth, Todd Bodine finished in fifth today. Winding up sixth was Chuck Bound. In seventh, Tracy Leslie. Eighth was Tom Peck. Ninth, Bobby Dotter. And finishing 10th, Mike Wallace. 11th, again unofficially, went to Tim Fedewa. And 12th to Mike McLaughlin, all on the lead lap. One lap down, Richard Lassiter. Steve Grissom wound up in the 13th spot today. That's a look at how they ran here at Watkins Glen, New York. Well, and Bill Elliott comes home victorious and did it the smooth way.
Well, you know, my hat's off to this entire field. These guys did a great job today keeping these race cars on the racetrack under some pretty slippery conditions, that's for sure.
Neil, some of these guys do it smooth. Some, like Ward Burton, chase the racetrack. Both approaches seem to work pretty well.
Yes, it's the end result that counts. You might use up more tires and equipment, but sooner or later you're going to get there.
Well, and of course, Labonte and Elliott. Ernie Irvin will be back when the Winston Cuppers come for the Budweiser at the Glen in August here at Watkins Glen, New York. Dorsey, what's ahead for you behind the wheel?
Well, I'll be here as well for the Winston Cup race coming up with the Country Town Lemonade Ford. And hopefully what I learned here today, I'll use a little of Bill Elliott and a little of Ward Burton, and you can do whatever I can do. Maybe get up there in the front. I'd like to do that.
Neil, we'll be off to Milwaukee next week. That rumor persists that we're going to see you behind the wheel in a Winston Cup race here pretty soon.
Oh, just a few weeks away if Earnhardt can survive Daytona.
If he keeps the car intact July 3rd, down at Pepsi 400, you'll run it at Talladega?
Yeah, that's the game plan right now. We'll just see what happens.
Can't wait. For all of of us here at TNN, Glenn Jarrett and Randy Pemberton, Dorsey Schrader and Neil Bonnet. I'm Mike Joy, congratulating Bill Elliott, who after 28 starts finally notches his first Busch Grand National victory in the Phase 150 at Watkins Glen. So long, everybody.